Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Crypto Night Show. Your host, Superman, in the house. I think we're in for a good show. I think we are. We're going to discuss a lot of stuff that's going on right now with this major bearish scenario for Bitcoin, a retest of the 60K mark back in February the 5th, I think it was. And we're down at 62. Very important defense line here for Bitcoin. Will the bears be right? Will we go down to 58 or 53? It's those sort of some of the marks that we've been talking about, or will we actually fight with the double bottom and then move higher into the second half of the year? Now, as you guys know, I've been talking about June being particularly a challenging month, and we're going to talk about all that coming up. And so we're actually going to provide a few new insights into that as well, worth thinking about. But on the other hand, we also had Pulse Chain get pushed below that 7,000 mark a little bit. And it was quite a little bit down from the oscillation. Obviously, a delayed impact from the Bitcoin majors going down. Maybe a little bit of rotation in some of those as well. Maybe a little bit of risk management. And we're going to check up on the pulse chart coming up as well. So that's something we're going to look at. But the big news, guys, the big news is LibertySwap. The LibertySwap rolling out some heavy-duty frontier DeFi projects. And we're going to talk about that coming up. That is a big deal, right? A big deal. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. We're going to be talking about HyperMarket coming to Pulse Chain. It's going to be a multi-chain solution. Remember that. Always multi-chain solutions for LibertySwap. But a lot of the benefit coming back to Pulse Chain, right? That's the whole key part there, particularly the official token of LibertySwap is PCock. So we're going to look at that on the charts. It is a top performer today after several weeks, maybe even a month or two of consolidation in terms of the holders. We're going to look at all that and make commentaries about that. They've also, this is for June, just HyperMarket for June. We'll talk about that. And then, of course, their products coming up for July is next level. Next level. I am super excited about all these products, and we're going to talk about LibertySwap in quite detail. I hope you guys enjoy it. It is bringing heavyweight protocols to Pulse Chain with a multi-chain approach. It's fantastic. So it's going to be exciting to talk about that. We've got Summer in the house. Hey, Summer. Always great to have Summer in the house. Hey. It's been a little while, Summer, but wonderful to have you in the chat. Welcome back. And what's the old song? Welcome back. I'm just trying to remember what sitcom is from the 80s, was it? Something like that. Maybe the 70s even. I don't know. We've got Orez in the house there. Welcome, Orez. Welcome. Like the burning. We're going to have fun. Now, if you guys are new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe on the way in. We're streaming on YouTube. Generally, the reach is about, let me think, probably about 15,000 people potential reach with our live streams. Isn't that awesome? And of course, if people repost on X, that gets amplified. So if you're on X, smash the follow button, but hit the repost button, and you can amplify that 15,000 people reach that we've got on YouTube and X, and you can make it 50,000, 100,000. So it's all really, if you got audience out there, hit the repost and share the channel around. As you guys know, the Crypto Night Show is the largest Pulse Chain influencer that does daily shows. Obviously, I take a few days off for other things, but mostly daily, and also covering not just Pulse Chain, but Bitcoin, Ethereum, and all the secret sauce that you need to know about what's happening in the crypto market. So it's pretty exciting. So share around and get it out there, folks. Get it out there. The other thing, of course, being publication. Crypto Night Show also does a lot of publications. We do a lot of information and promotional publications on X, Telegram, Discord, YouTube. But we also do the Crypto Night Show. The official publication is the Master Thread. 56 weeks. We've got 57 weeks coming up on Monday, and that is the hottest weekly news on Pulse Chain community. And boy, has it been a blast doing that 56 weeks. And of course, MVS Crypto, the promotional lead for the Crypto Night Show, is the editor-in-chief of the Monster Thread. Does a great job every single week, as you guys see. So share that around, spread it around. And we've just moved into a new publication midweek on Thursdays, down under time, which is Wednesdays in the US of A. And that is focusing on farms and DeFi. So that's coming up. We just did a first quick publication yesterday, but look forward to that expanding in many ways. It's going to expand many ways next week. So if you're a team in DeFi or farming, you want to get good promotion out there, we're only going to be focusing on the ones that have kind of proven themselves. And so you get in there and hit us up, hit myself or MVS up, you can get in on that as well. So we're expanding essentially with the Monster Thread on Monday and the DeFi farming publication on Wednesday, Thursday. You're going to get full week coverage and promotion, which is going to raise your brand awareness and lift your engagement and really showcase many of the awesome projects on Pulse Chain, which is really important as we move from this pivoting bear position, which I think into the second half of the year, which is going to be very bullish, not only for the crypto majors, but I believe for Pulse Chain as well. So hopefully you guys enjoy that. And of course, LibertySwap definitely leading the way on that one. All right, so that's the introduction. Let's get into the stock market results for Thursday. So we've got one more day tomorrow, I guess, to talk about the stock market. But let's get into the results today, and then we're going to get into the crypto majors. Bitcoin, we're going to go deep dive into Bitcoin and Ethereum, and then get into the Pulse Chain, which we've got big news around that too. So with LibertySwap, so look forward to it. We're going to get into it all. All right, let's jump into the stock market here, and we can see at the moment the US stocks futures fall as tech remains skittish. Non-farm payrolls on tap. Now we've saw that sort of title was sort of yesterday too, wasn't it? And so let's see what the results are now for the Dow Jones for Thursday. Well, it was actually up 1.7%, so a massive lift in the Dow Jones, even though we had futures down a bit. So we're up 875 points, which is pretty crazy, to 51,561. What volatility do we have there? We're at all-time highs, and now we're at all-time highs again for the Dow Jones. So, crypto's getting the sell-off. But the indices in the stock market are going up and up and up. And so we've been watching this. But of course, what's the big catalyst for that? What's the big catalyst? Well, AI, right, has generally been the big catalyst. And a couple of the other categories in there probably delayed because they're going to have their turn, right? They have their turn as people look for value, right? That's kind of what's happening there. Remember the Dow Jones top 30 industrials there getting a big lift today after that sell-off the previous day. But this lift today was just fantastic to new all-time highs. S&P 500 is also up 0.4%, and that is up 31 points to 75.84. We can see that's just off the all-time high, only back on Tuesday. So that is doing pretty well as well. And then the NASDAQ is actually just down a fraction, 23 points. That is to 26,830, but you can see that's just off the highs as well on Tuesday. So pretty much record highs on the stock market, but we had this big sell-off on the old crypto, right? Particularly Bitcoin down, which we're going to look at in a minute. The US dollar is at 99.41. They're pretty much flat at the moment. And then we've got the VIX down at 15.4, so 4% down. That is a massive, basically, risk on for the stock market, right? Risk on there. Let's go to the commodities. Commodities, West Texas, just pretty much up slightly at $93 and Brent oil there. But if we look at the last month, we can see that actually West Texas has come down, right? So it was up at $102, $105. It is now down at 93. So remember the inverse relationship to Ethereum, very important, right? So we'll see this pick up, particularly as we get more news out of the Strait of Hormuz and Iran. Obviously, there's a lot of conflict going on there, particularly with Lebanon as well. And so we'll get to that. But we've got the Brent oil also slightly up, 21 cents at $95.35. But remember, that was up at like $111, and we're down at 95. So we're already coming down. We're already coming down. This is positive progress. And of course, if we get that risk premium down, which is about 50%, get down to maybe $50, Ethereum's going to run. It's going to be one of the main catalysts for Ethereum running. And we already looked at the manufacturing index, right? That is expanding for the last 4 months. And so that's another bullish category for crypto. So I think this shakeout at the moment we're having at the moment is looking pretty interesting. It's either the last one or there's one more to go. And if we do have the bearish scenario down to 53, 58K, then that would be interesting. At the moment, I think the prediction markets have that at like 60, 70%, but that's not inevitable, right? No one knows the future. So we'll see whether we can hold on to Bitcoin at $62,000. Let's see where we go there. Gold. So gold at the moment is down 0.2%, $30 to 4,475. Silver is down 1.4%, down quite a bit, $1 to $73. And we obviously have seen a bit of rotation there. So if we look at the yearly chart here, you can see it's kind of rotated down. We're at a very critical level for gold right now, very critical level. If it breaks this level, down, down, down it goes, right? Silver at the moment is down 1.4%, $1, and you can see that's also at critical levels too. So keep a lookout for that, probably $70 in particular. So it's got a little bit more room, but not much. We'll see if it holds on to that, but certainly it looks like it's rotated there. Now, what we're expecting is that, we'll get the stock market rallying. We've got the AI theme, which is essentially lifting everything. We've seen some of that flow over into crypto with the likes of Hyperliquid and Near and others. Ondo, we've got sort of a few AI tokenization type of markets, especially markets which LibertySwap is moving into, kind of counterperform. And so we'll be watching that. Now, the one thing I will say is that this is not over yet too, right? Because we've got the SpaceX IPO coming up on the 12th of June. So that's in another, 7 days. And that's going to be pretty big. We also got probably another 9 large IPOs by the end of the year, particularly a couple of those up in the $1 trillion mark, and maybe OpenAI and 1-2 others out there that could be up in that level. So we've got a whole ton of new supply flooding onto the stock market, and then you got a liquidity thing, right? So you might see a bit of rotation out of some of the profitable plays into SpaceX, but that also may have also contributed to the old crypto too, right? And therefore, we've seen a lot of ETF selling, and that money may be very well rotating into, with the downtrend on the crypto, rotating back into the AI stuff. And so while that might happen now, we already had the gold and silver run, and we have the stock market run. We may very well see that rotating in the second half of the year back into crypto for the big run. And we're going to talk more about that setup moving forward. So hopefully that's going to be insightful. Let's quickly look at some of the news here. So obviously, they looked like the oil was getting a little bit better with de-escalation, and we've seen the price come down a bit. But the Lebanese group Hezbollah rejected a ceasefire from Israel. And of course, remember that. So remember Lebanon. Lebanon was largely Christian. They let in some of the Palestinians/Muslims into Lebanon. And then what happened? The Muslims took over the country, right? So just be careful what you wish for. And they've done that in many countries in the Middle East, right? And like Iraq, there was, like 3.5 million Christians. And now it's like maybe a couple 100,000 at most. And of course, they get rid of all those people, right? So this is what you're up against. And of course, we've got this happening in the West, right? And we've got progressives that are the ones that are allowing them to come in. They come in and then they use the progressives as idiots, and then they take over the countries, right? And they do it through corruption as well. Once they get to a certain percentage, it's game over, right? So there's a big battle on in the West about this right now. And of course, we've seen that for 1,400 years, this same behavior, right? So it's going to be a very tricky time in the West, generally speaking, move forward. And Lebanon, they're a great example of that. Anyway, no ceasefire in the short term. The move pointed to more US-Iran friction, given that Tehran has set a ceasefire in Lebanon. So that's kind of where we are right now. Now we're going to move forward here. We've got non-farm payrolls coming out on Friday. So that's going to be a key economic data cue there. And so, for more cues on the health of the economy, non-farm payroll coming. The print is expected to show a decline in job growth from the prior month, so amid economic wins. Now, we have seen some very positive economic data come out as well, so we might just do a show on that as well. Strength in the labour market is a key consideration for the Federal Reserve coming up. And remember, we've also got inflation coming out next week with the CPI, one of the two main indicators there. So labour market and inflation, those are the two key considerations for the Fed, and that would be the first decision for our new chair, Warsh, who's more dovish. Let's see what happens. Now, the market's of course been pricing in no change in interest rates for the rest of the year. However, because of rising inflation due to the Strait of Hormuz extension period, but we will see whether the Fed chair is able to get us a 25-50 basis point cut regardless of that. So let's see how that goes coming up with the new leadership. So the market will test the new chair. We've got just another Jeff in the house there, but the Rockets, absolutely looking good. So that's kind of a summary of where we are at the moment. And like I say, we've got that employment data on Friday, tomorrow, and then we've got the CPI next week, right? So those are big economic details coming up. And that will all flow into the Fed, right? The Fed's decision coming up there. And of course, let's go quickly to the Fed. Let me just go to, I don't know where it's gone there. It's all a bit happy when you trigger there. Look, it's not even letting me do it. There we go. All right, I think we got there in the end. So let's have a look there. So 1 week and 5 days to the next Fed meeting on the 17th. We got the market expecting essentially no change. July, we got the market expecting no change, but we'll see what happens with the new Fed chair and see whether we get a little bit of rate cut there. We'll keep a lookout for that. All right, coming in. That is pretty much it. Let's get into the crypto majors. And of course, we have been shaving off a lot of value on the old crypto market. We're down to 2.273 trillion. Seems like we just can't get a break. And I think what we're down since the top peak of October last year What are we down? 2 trillion? I can't remember the number, something like that, isn't it? But we're up 0.6% today. So that's good news, guys. After the sell-off was pretty brutal again, but this is crypto. We're used to $10,000 sell-offs and $12,000 sell-offs and sometimes even more in the old market volatility. And that's what you get for the best performing category in the world, right? And of course, we know that AI is booming in the stock market, so a lot of money is going into there. And we've got big IPOs like SpaceX coming up on the 12th, and that's looking to be what, a 1.75 trillion, $1.8 trillion capital raise. I think they're looking at $75 billion. And the banks get what, maybe 0.5% to probably closer to 1% of that value. So they're going to get a massive payday, what, $400-500 million. They'll be enjoying that, won't they? So let's look at Bitcoin. So Bitcoin there, I'm glad to say, is actually up 1.2% on the 24 hours after the sell-off. But guys, down 14% for the week. Ouchie, ouchie, ouchie. Remember, we had that big run, which we'll talk about in a minute when we get to the Bitcoin chart. We're at $63,275 now, down slightly in the last hour there, about 0.6%. Number 2 is Ethereum, down 1% for the week, so it's not even up today, and down 12.7% for the week, but less than Bitcoin, and it's at 1753. So it's actually kind of showing, even though it's been a weak performer to the upside, it's showing a bit of resilience on the downside relatively to Bitcoin. BNB is pretty much flat, but down 5.8% for the week at $600 on the money, or on the dot, I guess they say. XRP at number 6 is down 1.5%, 12.2%. Slightly better, slightly not as bad as Ethereum, or better than Ethereum at $1.15. Solana there down 1% as well, down 17%. Obviously, Solana a very big leverage play, and that's $68 right now. And Tron at number 8 is down 1%, 6.8% for the week. Tron kind of moves in its own way, a bit more of a hedge, but that is down there, and that's sitting at just under 33 cents. Finally, number 10 is Hyperliquid. Of course, Hyperliquid has been, particularly yesterday, it was doing a counter move to Bitcoin. We're rallying pretty hard. It did eventually pull back a bit, and it is down 9.5% in the last 24 hours, but still up 5.8% for the week. And that is number 10. And it's up 2.2% in the last hour. So Hyperliquid there, obviously spot and perpetuals are doing pretty well, sitting at $65.65. And I think we're probably going to see that perform very well moving forward. Obviously, with volume, it's going to benefit from up and down markets. Obviously, if the market does tank too much, then even with the volumes, it may get priced down as the whole crypto market gets priced down. Probably some of the variables there, but certainly is one of the leaders in the innovation market. Now that's Hyperliquid, and we had that's pretty much it. So that's up 5.8% for the week. So that's the best performer in the top 10. Of course, only within the last week it flipped Dogecoin, right? Dogecoin under in a bit of pressure, waiting for the X Money wallet, right, to go public, essentially. The best performer in the last 24 hours in the top 100. Well, we've got Siren up 26%, Dexy up 14%. We've got Binance Life at 9.5%, just up 6%, and WorldCoin up 3.7%. WorldCoin being a very good performer, obviously over the last week, it's been one of the winners in the top 100, and that is Digital ID, right? Digital ID, and it's getting a lot of because of the problem of AI, it's getting a lot of uptake from a lot of platforms because it's digital ID using your eye scan. Now, arguably, it's only as good as the current day, but it is what it is. That seems to be one of the big ones there from Sam Altman, right? The young, controversial, let's say, at the very least, if not bad dude, is sitting there at number 5. Now, that is up 88% for the week. So there have been some winners, guys, in the top 100, and if you've been in the right category, it would have been cool, and of course we've been covering that. Top 100, top 5 in the top 100 for the last week. Well, we got Lab up 140%, Humanity, another digital ID, right, 129%, WorldCoin, digital ID, 88%, and platform adoption, right, getting platform adoption, very key for the value uplift, right. It's one thing making the technology, but you need adoption. Siren at number 4 is up 63%, and then Binance Life up 55%. So those 5 really making a big move there. But, just further down, you can see Dexy, Hyperliquid on the move there as well. So kind of cool. All right. So that's kind of neat. Now, I do want to quickly go before we get to the top 1,000. Actually, we'll go to top 1,000. So top 1,000, we've got Bitway up 244%, Zest Protocol up 66%, and Home up 48%. Currently, leading performers there. Trending overall on CoinGecko is Bonk, Zcash, and Hyperliquid, but they're all down at the moment. but I think Hyperliquid already turning green. Let's see whether that moves back into green for the 24 hours later on today, since it looks already like it's having a bit of lift. Now, I want to talk about down the bottom here in the top 100 is Near Protocol. We're going to be keep looking out for that. It's the AI theme, right? So that had been performing well, got sold off overnight, but other than that, was doing pretty well with the AI relationship there. The other big one that we've seen, of course, is WorldCoin with the digital ID. So we've seen digital ID do well. So AI, digital ID kind of platforms. We've also seen, obviously, perpetuals do well with Hyperliquid. Ondo is launching within a was it actually? It's not within a few weeks. It's on the 9th. So in about 4 or 5 days, Ondo is going to be launching perpetuals. They do spot stocks and equities, and now they're going to be moving into perpetuals. Perpetuals in a different way, because you're going to be able to use your securitized tokenized stocks you can hold them and you can borrow against them for perpetual leverage. So that's going to be a big gameplay there. Ondo, of course, dominating 2/3 of the tokenization, which is one of our mega themes for re-rating all of Ethereum, right? So that is ramped up. And of course, this is also on other chains like BNB and Base Chain. So Ondo there coming up, that's going to be a mega play. Looking out for that. So keep a lookout for Ondo. And that's another big news. In fact, it's going to be on the 9th. And then we got SpaceX on the 12th. So yeah, we're going to have a pretty big play there. So we've got some pretty interesting stuff. Internet computer, also obviously keep a lookout for that in terms of that AI type space as well. We're scrolling down here and looking at a few more. Humanity, of course, doing really well this week around the digital ID. So keep a lookout for that. Dixie with the AI kind of theme. What else is going on down here? We're going down to top 100, of course. Let's see, a few more down here. Yeah, so that's kind of the ones that are kind of been doing some pretty cool stuff. Keep a lookout for that over the next few weeks, particularly Ondo coming up very soon. Hey, we got DJ and Hexagon in the house there. Hey, Superman. Hey, good to see you, DJ and Hexagon. Welcome to the show. And we got Hexavator as well. Hey, gang, great to see Hexavator. Get your comments in, folks. Make that chat lively. I mean, it's all about it. You know, it's community, it's crypto, it's exciting. Get your thoughts in there. Obviously, be constructive, and we're a PG channel, so keep it family friendly. But after that, let's keep going. So those are the crypto majors, guys. That's a bit of a theme there. Now, if you guys haven't joined Strategy Club, you want to get more insight constantly every single day around the best themes and the best cryptos, then join Strategy Club. It's fantastic. It's just over $1 a day to join up, so very well priced, and you get a lot of upside for it. If you're busy and you want to get all the insights, then you'll get it in Strategy Club. Now, all you have to do is find the link in the video description on YouTube, join up to the Whoop store, and that will give you a link to the Strategy Club inside our Discord, and you'll join up and you get Discord for free as well. And if you're on X, just go to the top of X profile and smash the Whoop link there. And Whoop, of course, is a big site that people use to join up to clubs, and you can get your link in Discord there. So we'll look forward to seeing you in Strategy Club, and you get all the information flow as it flows in every day. As I'm scraping the crypto knowledge, as it were. So kind of cool. Get the advantage there. All right, getting the big picture is really important. So we do highlights during the live stream, but get the next level on Strategy Club. So there we go. See you in Strategy Club later on. All right, so that's crypto. Let's zoom in on Bitcoin. And Bitcoin here at the moment is obviously we've got the daily, the hourly here. We can see that we had this big sell-off. I mean, pretty brutal, right? So we're all the way up here at 74K, and then we get a nice $10,000, $11,000 sell-off. Even I think it's 12,000 actually. In fact, let's get the ruler out here on the daily. I know we're going to take it from here, and we take it all down there. So we actually had a $12,382 sell-off, 17% inside 2 days and 22 hours. Welcome to crypto, guys. We know that a lot of the biggest gains and the biggest losses happen in about 30, 40 days of the year. And here we are with a big down here. And of course, that's a continuation of the rejection at 82,000, right? But we have recovered a little bit. And so we're only down 10,500. We're down 14%. So we have gained a little bit there at the moment. Now, the question is, are we going to defend the 62K line? So we're back up 3%, about $1,900 over the last 23 hours. Are we going to defend this line? That's the question. That's the question there that a lot of people are asking. Have we got one more leg down? Now, let's have a look at the daily and have a look at the daily chart there. Hopefully it's going to refresh. Always has a problem. Let me just reload this. Probably the best way to do it. And let's go to the daily again. Let's try that one more time. Yeah, there we go. Reset. I don't know why it has to. I have to refresh every time. Probably get stuck in the matrix. But we're back down in this zone. Boo, boo, boo. Obviously, we had the 60K back on the 6th of February. We're doing a retest of that right now. The question is this the end of the downtrend? And so let's go to the weekly. Before we do that, let's do the averages. So we've got the 50-day at 74,271. The 200, that's in yellow down here. We got the 200-day at 80,300. Remember, that was 82,000. We got rejected and down we came, right? Down we came from there. So the total retrace that we had, we're going to take it from the 6th of May down to the bottom here, was a whopping $21,266. Just think about that. So pretty much hit pretty hard. Down 25%, there. And so, yeah, a big deal. So, but we're back up a little bit, and now we're only down 19,500. Only says. But this is what you get, the volatility with the best performing market. And so we're up off the bottom there. Now we're back in the zone that we're back in February all the way essentially into April, even though we had a rising rise there, rejected at 82, and down we go. So let's have a look at a further afield. Let's go to the monthly chart. And we have to reset that. So let's do that. So here's the monthly chart. So we had been nicely bouncing off, essentially. Let me get rid of those items here. We've essentially been bouncing off the monthly moving average, right, which is at 66,000. So if you're thinking long term, 66,000 is kind of the mark there. And we have pierced through that at the moment. Obviously, we pierced through it back in February. We've got 60K. The low so far is 61,300. Are we going to hold on to that, or is there going to be a bit more of a pain? A bit like this, maybe. Is there going to be a bit more pain? I suggest to you that maybe June is it. Unless we got some negative news in June that flows on into July, that June is kind of the last volatile period, because we have interest rates, we have economic data with the Strait of Hormuz, we have the Clarity Act going through, the Bitcoin Act. Essentially, we've got those things going through, and we have the IPOs from SpaceX, which is, dragging capital is flowing into the AI and SpaceX IPOs. We're talking about a big extra supply. And also we've got we've had this, what am I trying to say? We've got the preferred equity products going to vote for Stretch, for strategies Stretch for Michael Saylor. So we've got quite a stuff up in the air, right? And then we've got obviously monetary policy and liquidity issues, so and a downtrend. So this is why June is going to be such an incredible month. Obviously, it's come down this month with those rotations. Will we see it start to rise on the back end? Or will we have to wait till July when we get some of the news gets resolved and we get to the upside there, which I'm excited about. I'm very bullish about July onwards, but obviously June was always going to be a carnage with the volatility there. And the market makers have moved us down, right? The market makers have essentially moved us down here, and of course the shorts pile on. The longs, I think it was a $1.8 billion of longs got liquidated. The sentiment from the community is that they've been trying. The ratio from longs to shorts is actually, I think it was about 1.7 last time I looked at it. May have dropped to about 1.6, but that doesn't deal with the amount of the size of the positions. In other words, the capital at risk, but just the sentiment essentially that a lot of the OGs or people that saw the market going down were trying to support it and buy it up. They have belief in the markets, but of course their positions were ultimately too much. And it's not just the longs and shorts, which normally net each other off in terms of value, because they offset each other, but actually the spot as well moving down. So you got all those forces moving you down at the moment, despite the fact that the longs ratio was actually positive, 1.6 to 7 or something to that point. I haven't looked at it today, but that's kind of the line there. Battle on 63. We're just below the monthly moving average 66, but we know that anytime it's below this moving average on the monthly, it's been a short-lived, and this is the time to buy, right? And then onwards we go to the upside. And so all the long-term variables are still hyper bullish, and that's what we're looking forward to, right? When all the fundamentals are coming to crypto, and we're going to talk about that. So that is Bitcoin right now, and very important we defend the 62 mark. Otherwise, the 53 to 58 mark is in play, particularly 53, and that could very well be the bottom. And we see the last test we had back in August 24, we got to a low of 49,000. But I suggest to you that probably the real low based on the power law floor is about 54, 53, and 58 at the top of that range, depending on the power law model you're looking at there. All right, so that is pretty much it. Let's jump into what I got there. We got the ETFs. So what have we been seeing? Well, obviously we've had pretty good buying from the digital asset treasuries, which we're going to talk about in a minute. This is like Strive and Strategy with their Stretch and SATA products. We've got a lot of other digital assets treasuries looking to buy in the future, not just with debt market products, which we call preferred equity, which is revolutionary over the last 3 months, right? But also we've got a ton of innovation in that space. But we've also got common equity. Also, people sitting on cash, like MetaPlanet and others. Bitcoin Treasury Reserve. They're all in play. So we've got maybe a good number out of the top 15. Definitely pretty active in accumulating Bitcoin. So they're still very positive play. And hopefully, if we can get the debt markets triggered, we'll be able to keep harvesting that debt market and buying up Bitcoin. So we're going to talk about that in a minute too. But in the short term, we've got the ETFs, right? The ETFs are flooding out, probably risk management in terms of the general trend from the 82 rejection, but also they've been a big contributor in terms of exiting and selling out of the crypto market as the ETFs, right? So we've got two main corporates, right? If you think about digital asset treasuries and in terms of categories and the ETFs, obviously we have a third category, which is just like independent corporates doing their own thing. But essentially these two are key, and the ETFs have been selling down, right? Profusely selling down. Look at every single day. I think it's like 2 weeks now. I think it's like 2 weeks, but we can see it's negative every single day. 21st of May, 1,300 Bitcoin sold. 26th of May, 4,300. A whopping day on the 27th of May, 9,600 is the net sell, right? So net sales, you can see a lot of it's coming from IBIT, FBTC, and of course ARK, as well as GBTC. So these are the ones really selling us down quite heavy. And you can see that's this constant sell pressure in the thousands of Bitcoin per day. And so all the way down, the 1st of June, we had 6,500. The 2nd of June, we had 7,200. So we had a lot of ETF outflows, right? And these were the ones essentially buying up Bitcoin previously and buying it with this big major mega theme where corporates are coming in through different categories, digital asset treasuries, ETFs, and of course independent corporates, and they're coming in and buying the Bitcoin off all the individuals that typically own the predominant amount of Bitcoin particularly have enjoyed the last several bull market cycles, and they're swapping hands, right? Swapping hands. The other thing that we see is a lot of people that have been accumulating Bitcoin over the last year, typically up at 70, 80K, maybe even higher. We've seen some of them sell out, right, as well. So they've been selling out on the downside. They may be relatively new, whatever. They've been selling as well. That's also adding pressure to the spot sell as well. So we've got ETFs. We've got a lot of people over the last year, particularly at their cost basis, selling down. So that's been moving the market down. And then, of course, we have market makers also move us down, including the perpetual market as well. So a lot of variables there just playing to the downside right now. So hopefully we're going to hold on at 62. That's kind of the key mark there as well. All right, so that's kind of cool. Now, what's on the upside? So those are the downside things, but what's on the upside? Well, the upside thing would be the debt products, right, from the digital asset treasuries. Are they going to come and lift us up? But what we got? We've got a problem at the moment. We've got a confidence problem, right? We've got a confidence problem because we got rejected 82. We're now down at 63. We got down to 61,300. And we're revisiting the old 60K from the 5th of February earlier this year, and we're back at the bottom of that zone. So, we've got a confidence problem, and now you've got the pessimists coming in saying, oh, well, we could go down another leg, down to 53K. So we've got that in the house as well, and that would really be that power law floor price. So we'll see what happens, but will the digital asset treasuries save us in that sense? Because obviously they've been buying up tens of thousands of Bitcoin every month. But that is on the back of the debt market, right? Using the preferred equity products. We saw Strive only just a week ago do amazing results before all this cascading price fall, and that was hyper bullish, but not enough to keep the crypto market from collapsing, right? Because they don't have the ability to control the market; they just have an ability to buy Bitcoin and make a big influence. But when it's got a downtrend, we can actually see the market can outdo it, right? Outdo it there. So that's what we've seen. Now the question is, it's now Strategy's turn. As you guys know, Strive and Strategy operate on the alternative 2-week period each month, and now we're moving into Strategy, right, which is the bigger play. But look at the price of Stretch. Stretch is their preferred equity, and it's down at $95.46. So it's well below $100, and it needs to be over $100 to issue new shares and raise new capital from the debt markets. Remember, debt markets, $300 trillion plus for money market, bond markets. And so you're just getting a fraction of that market is huge. So far this year, I think it's been about $4 billion. But just a fraction of 300 trillion. And we know the market has been liking it, generally speaking. But is there going to be a confidence issue at this time? And I don't know. Maybe the timing of Michael Saylor selling the 32 Bitcoin was the wrong timing. I mean, he didn't necessarily know we're going to tank like that, but maybe that was also a bad signal. And even though I think it's not really of importance, and that you can have tax accretive selling to lift your sats per share, and I agree with all that sort of stuff. But of course, the old mantra that we're never selling got broken, right? Regardless, even if it was only 32 Bitcoin, what's it, $2.5 million or something. And so here we are with the price down. So are we going to get the Stretch product back up to $100? Well, it has ex dividends 15th, right? 15th. So we've got about 10 days. Normally it takes about 10 days to get recovered. And here we are way late with the market down. So we're at 95. Are we going to get back to $200 and above to start minting a couple $1 billion this month so we can buy up a couple of tens of thousand Bitcoin? And now that Bitcoin's down at 63K, you're going to be able to buy heaps more Bitcoin, right? Heaps more Bitcoin. If you can raise similar capital, like $2 billion like last month, you can buy tons of Bitcoin. So this could be really cool, and it helps set the floor price. I mean, obviously they do a lot of OTC stuff and Coinbase and things, but we'll see. We'll see what happens there. A very key bit here, a very key bit about confidence. Now, on the other positive side, Strategy paid down their convertible debts. They got it at 90 cents on the dollar, and they reduced their debt from about 8.3 billion down to 6.7 billion. And that's a good move. That makes Strategy stronger, getting rid of the leverage while still remaining the amplification, right? And the amplification, of course, is the Stretch preferred equity that they use to target the debt markets, give them a yield of 11.5%, and then buy Bitcoin with it, and buying a lot, tens of thousands, 25,000 last month. And of course, this can be even more this month if they raise a similar money, because Bitcoin's down at 63. So we're going to watch this. This is very important, guys. Very important that we get this back to $100. Now, what's the problem? We've got headwinds, right? What's the headwind? We've got SpaceX coming on the 12th of June. The 12th of June, guys. And so that's going to be a furore, not only on the launch, but in the days afterwards, right? And then 15 days later, they're probably going to be popping into the S&P 500, the NASDAQ 100, and all these sort of indexes that they're going to get, hundreds of millions of dollars, hundreds of billions of dollars. No, let me say, billions of dollars of capital flowing, and probably 20-30% of the value flowing into SpaceX. And so we could see that's going to prop them up very, very nicely. And we're going to see some of the non-execs who have got SpaceX shares who have been there for a long time be able to sell them down, including a lot of the private investors that have got lower prices, right? And they all want to take their profits. So we've got a swapping of hands with that happening as well. But a sucking in of liquidity, it's not only going to affect potentially Bitcoin again, but also affect the other top tier stocks in the market as well. A lot of the profitable AI stocks and stuff like that. The SpaceX could vampire not just those stocks in in the stock market, but are they going to be is that going to cause another sell-off event in the old crypto? So that people go and buy SpaceX. So we're not out of the woods yet, is what I'm saying. Not out of the woods for the Bitcoin price. Obviously, we want it to defend at 62K, but are we going to get another rout? Is that going to be caused by ETFs and private investors exiting? We have seen some pretty big names, rage quit. But are they rage quitting? Maybe they are to some degree, but maybe they're also going into big IPOs like SpaceX. So the SpaceX carnage on the 12th could be pretty interesting. It could be pretty severe. Could last for a few weeks, so making June not that great. And maybe possibly supporting that leg down to the downside. So we'll see how it all plays out. Now, on the positive side, if we do get Strategy in the last couple of days, let's say between the 12th and the 14th, and we had a couple of good days, and it gets back to $100, and it raises. So we maybe build that confidence and the FOMO at the end. Oh, I got to get some stretch because I want to get the dividend. Then we may get back there. We may raise a couple of billion, and we may be able to buy Bitcoin super cheap. And especially if SpaceX has caused it to go down to 53 for a small period of time, then that would be hyper bullish. You'd be able to buy 10, 40,000 Bitcoin or something. So that would be massively beneficial. So we're going to watch out for this, guys. Very, very important. Can't say it enough on the old stretch product. So this is STRC, and of course it pays 11.5% dividend. And then of course this is the last month potentially that this will be a monthly payout because the vote is on. I think there's only 3 days left in the vote. Closes out next week, I believe, on Monday possibly, and we will then move to July to bi-monthly or fortnightly payments, which is hyper positive because if we get back to 100, that will then be more often during the month, and therefore more debt raised and potentially more Bitcoin bought on a more regular basis, which helps provide structural support and price support to the upside. So that's what we're looking at the moment. So that's kind of the variables. Hopefully I've laid those sort of competing variables to play. And so we're watching. This is very key in the days ahead. So we've got, 10 days to ex-dividend. So let's keep a lookout, guys. And particularly the last couple of days between the 12th, SpaceX's IPO, and the 14th. So those couple of days critical. And those have been the critical capital raising days in the previous months as well. Just the timing is pretty crazy, right? Or will the SpaceX dampen down the whole market with capital, sucking in capital everywhere? We shall see. We shall see. It's going to be pretty interesting. Now, Ethereum. Let's get to Ethereum at the moment. Ethereum, of course, is doing debt markets per se, but we got a big announcement from Tom Lee regarding raising $300 million, which I think is actually a smart play. I think smart play. Now, it's a preferred equity, but it's not got the same attributes as Stretch. So it's not doing, and it doesn't have an at the market feature where it gets to $100 and then you sell more shares and raise more capital. It doesn't have that scenario. And I think it's actually a pretty good play. And it just shows you how good Tom Lee is. A lot of people are hacking on him because Ether's down, but it's a treasury, for goodness sake. It's going to go up and down as a leverage, right? So that is pretty much it. I don't know why people get on the bandwagon there. Now, even intraday MNAVs, typically they probably mean essentially intraday positive MNAVs, but of course daily MNAVs have been pretty negative. But that has changed overnight in the stock market. Pretty crazy. We're going to talk about that in a minute. But let's get to the ETH chart. ETH chart here, obviously down at 1758. We had a little low back here, a little while back here. We got the low of 1715. So we actually got a new all-time, or new local low, I should say, on the chart. Let's go to the daily so I can print that out. And let's have a look at how we went there on the daily. We might have to do a refresh here as well. And reload. Just let me do that quickly. So I hope you're loving the content. If you're loving the content, smash the likes and hit the follow button and share it around on X. Hit the repost button there as well. It's great to have you all here sharing the journey. This is, for me, this is the short-term bottom range, and June is the most vulnerable part. And then the long-term trends for blockchain and crypto are bullish, hyper bullish. And so we're not. This is just what happens in crypto market cycles with all the special events going on at the moment. But I'm hyper bullish about the second half of the year and the next 2 years because I think 2027, the end of the second half of 26, and even the early part of 28 are going to be pretty spectacular moving forward. Now we do have some geopolitical and political things to take into account, like midterms and the end of Trump's 47th presidency. But I'm expecting to have a very bullish economy in that time, and so we'll keep looking out at that too. Christos in the house there. Good evening, Superman. Great to see you, Christos. Welcome to the chat. All right, so we're at 1747 right now. We have got down to 1750. Now we bet the previous low in February, unlike Bitcoin, which has not quite got there, $1,300 above. We got down to 1742. And remember, Tom DeMark, one of the great timing analysts that Tom Lee uses for Bitmine as one of his two only clients, he's talked about 1790 being the bottom. Well, we got to 1742 on the 6th of February. Well, we just made we did a double test, of course, but we actually got slightly low at 1715. We're still holding on though, and we're up at 1743 right now. So that is where we are there. Are we going to go down? Well, I guess the next level would be down even further. But let's look at the moving averages. We got the 50-day at 21.15. We got the 200-day at 24.66. And of course, most people will be hoping that we've got the bottom here and that we've got structural support overall. And we're going to see that tested this month. But let's go to the monthly chart. And here is the long view. Now, the long view, of course, is we've had this rejection at 5,000 all the way back, the 2021 bull market, right? 2021 bull market, we came back down and we got rejected again in September last year, which I call the mid bull. We have in the middle bull market on Bitcoin, we see that we have this mid rally. I see that as the mid rally. I still see the banana part of the curve is in front of us, right? This big rally is still in front of us over the next 2 years. That's what I see happening, right? So at the moment, you're kind of getting the awesome chance to buy on the dip. Now, we can see the monthly moving average for Ethereum is sitting at 2,438. And the few times that it's dipped the past year, obviously it was quite long here in between June 22 and January. We've had about 6 or 7 months. But anytime you bought below that, you've had the rally to the upside. It's kind of like the easy money, right? Easy money back here between March and May 25, then another rally there, that what I call that mid bear market rally, and that's got us up to close to 5 as well. But we've been rejected at 5. Now, I think there's easy money. Obviously, we're back in another period underneath the 50 monthly moving average, and it's another opportunity to buy. And you can see the upsides just completely, keep restoring themselves with a nice little V recovery there. And then it's 5K. So easy money up to 5K. You just got to be patient, and we know that it's hyper bullish. Some things are changing now that we haven't seen before, and that is we've got ETFs, we've got digital asset treasuries, we've got corporates coming in a big way, and then we have our mega themes: stablecoin boom, buying US treasuries, tokenization has just started to take off, sitting at about $36 billion, and some of those leaders are Securitize, Ondo, X stocks. These guys are coming in big time. Robinhood, these guys are all coming in. XRP, lots of things happening. These are all coming in, and it's the beginning, right? DTCC and all those with the trillions of dollars. These are coming in, and there's new players about to launch in this tokenization spot. Not only are they doing spot tokenization where you can buy cryptos and particularly stocks and financial products on the blockchain. You can also, they're moving into perpetuals where you can leverage those stocks, and we've got Ondo launching on the 9th. So you can sort of see the game is on, the fundamentals are coming out. That's why we're bullish. That's why this market cycle at the moment is a gift in the hand. I know it's pretty brutal to see, but it's actually you're getting to buy cheap because the long-term, medium long-term play is hyper bullish, right? It's hyper bullish. So that's all you got to think about is the future value. And if you can pick up the cheap side on the bottom of the cycle move, then you are a winner chicken dinner. So that's kind of what we're looking at there. And I do believe, July is when we should get a lot of resolution from June regarding all those different variables that I talk about, Clarity Act and other things. And then it's game on for the next 2 years. That's kind of the play. All right, so that is kind of neat. Obviously, we're below the 50-month moving average at 24.38 at 17.37, looking pretty good there. And maybe possibly we might get down to the 1,500 mark if we do take another leg down. That's kind of the play, and that would be the bottom. That seems that Bitcoin does get smashed around a bit this June, particularly from the SpaceX rotation. If that does cause a cascade, not only affect crypto as I said earlier, but also some of the leading stocks that are profitable may see some sell off there to go into SpaceX, for example. And then we've got other IPOs coming down the line too, like OpenAI. That's later in the year, at the end of the year, so I'm not too worried about that. But there are a few others that are racing to try and get early during the AI FOMO, right? It's during the AI FOMO. Now we know AI is a long-term theme, right? But it will have its own ups and downs. But we are expecting a re-rate of the US economy from that point of view. We'll see what happens. Now, we've got the market is going to keep looking for cost reductions in the corporates, right, as a result of AI and the upside benefits to revenue as well, which have been pretty good up to this point. So we're at 17.38 at the moment, so we'll keep a lookout for that. Now, if we break 5K, all game on, right? Magic money, not just great money, back up to 5K, but magic money, and that's when we get into a re-rate of Ethereum based on all those things, tokenization, which is taking off. I mean, it's beautiful watching it happen right now. We're going to have another one on the 9th with Ondo perpetuals. It's really exciting. And then, of course, they've just started, right? It's just started. You watch, it's going to be beautiful over the next year. It's game on. And then we've got AI agents. We're seeing that now too. So we're seeing different big platforms now offer AI agents to do automated payments. And then we've got creative agents and all sorts of stuff coming. It's going to be really, really cool moving forward. All right, so that is kind of the play. And if we do that, then that's when we get up to the bullish upside, where we get to 12 to 22K Ethereum in the short term, another up to 2 years, right? Medium term, we can go beyond that to 60K. Long term, in the 10-year period, maybe to 250K even per Ethereum. And the market will completely re-rate as liquidity follows value into the market. So that is the kind of play. Now, what do we find from BMNR, right? BMNR did a beautiful recovery last night, kind of counterintuitive, to be honest. I don't know whether some corporates were buying or what, but BMNR, the common stock there for Bitmine Emission, number one digital asset treasury, sitting on 5.4 million Ethereum, staked 4.7, I think, million Ethereum, about 90%. And of course, Tom Lee there is pretty much becoming the leader of Ethereum in terms of commerciality and retail mass adoption. That's all coming down over the next 6 months and the next 2 years, right? They're rolling it out. They got Mr. Beast, they got OpenAI. It's all part of the puzzle there that Tom Lee is working on. And he, of course, has got a long history in capital markets, stock markets, and crypto. So he is leading the way there. And also in this last presentation only a couple of days ago, he announced that ETH organization, its role is tampering down just into innovation and upgrades for Ethereum and all the projects that they've got there, and that Tom Lee and the digital asset treasuries, particularly probably SBIT and Bitmine, will be supporting those projects coming out to enhance the commerciality of Ethereum. And that was a big announcement, maybe overlooked by many, but that was a big announcement there moving forward, taking up the leadership role. And that's a big deal because you've got a perfect bridge between traditional markets and crypto markets with Tom Lee. So, and we saw a nice little re-rate there, counterintuitive to where Ethereum was going. We saw the price jump all the way from $16.82 to $17.90 on Bitmine, a really beautiful play. And so let's look at the daily here for Bitmine Immersion, a BMNR common stock, and you can see that back in February that was a gift in the hand, right? It got all the way down to $17.19. Then we had another dip on the 30th of March. It got down to $17.84. But boy, what a gift in the hand! $16.67 low today, but then recovered all the way back from $16.67 to $17.89. What a beautiful move there in the play there. And of course, we are hyper bullish about a Bitmine Emission in the future. Now, remember, it's a leverage play. So Ethereum goes down, it's going to leverage play to the downside. Of course, if they're always buying ETH, though, so it's going to increase the amount of ETH that they've got. And of course, if Ethereum takes off into these 5K or beyond markets, then the re-rate on Bitmine will be glorious to the upside, truly glorious to the upside. And so we're excited about that. Not only is he doing as a treasury, but he's also being the game maker on Ethereum, right? He's the game maker. Now, there's lots of different corporates doing a lot of things, tokenization, all that sort of stuff, but he is playing a key role in the leadership there, bringing over finance from institutions, but also mass adoption through Mr. Beast. And that could be absolutely, truly glorious for we'll finally have the main way of mass adoption coming there. Now, I think there's going to be a couple of different ways. X Money Wallet and other platforms are going to help with that. Some of the banking payment systems on Ethereum, I think that's all coming. Swift and all these other things. It's going to be pretty awesome. So we're going to see a lot of stuff happening in the payment systems, and I think he's a key player in there, making it all happen. And so excited about that. He said they spend a lot of hours strategizing about how to make finance come to Ethereum and facilitate what's already happening, and then also bring mass adoption. So keep a lookout for that. I think we're going to see some of the fruit of that in the second half of the year as well, particularly over the next 2 years. We'll see all that lay out, and we'll have the big reveal. Mr. Beast, of course, whose partnership in the sense they took $200 million from Bitmine. They said that they're putting the pieces of the puzzle together, and that's coming too. And of course, Mr. Beast recently reached $1 billion in revenue, and moving into finance, and particularly on Ethereum, is going to be a game changer there, targeting the alpha and the Generation Z markets, including millennials. And of course, they're going to be inheriting a ton of wealth. So that's game on there, and Ethereum's going to get that mass adoption. Look, at the moment, we've got the markets down the cycle, but the upside is glorious. I cannot say that enough for Ethereum. All the fundamentals are moving to the upside. and it's just the markets doing their thing, right? Markets in the short term can be not reflect the value that's been created or the value that's coming in the future for Ethereum. And we saw obviously record wallet numbers, record transaction numbers, and of course the innovation coming from Ethereum Foundation supporting the commissionality. So get it on. It's going to be pretty awesome. Then we've got the Clarity Act coming and the Bitcoin Act coming. It's game on. And of course, fingers crossed those all get through. I think they're probably at least about 60% now at the moment. And of course, the White House has stepped up their support for that, obviously, to deliver to the innovation that's Bitcoin and crypto will bring. So a lot of cool stuff happening there. And of course, a very good surprise there for a big recovery there. Now, what did that mean? Well, the MNAV, which is the market net asset value, right? So it's the underlying Ethereum and other assets that they've got on there valued at market. And does the stock market price reflect that based on the number of shares, right? So does it affect the underlying assets of Ethereum that hold and other assets? And the MNAV, essentially, with that big rebound in the BMNR, got back to 101. So really exciting, guys. Really exciting. So Bitmine now holds 5.4 million ETH. They've got to get to 6 million, remember? About 6,032,000 to get to 5%. That's the alchemy of 5%. And they're sitting on about 4.5% of ETH right now. They've still got $446 million of cash. And they are raising money, right? They've just announced a convertible to raise another 300 million. I think they're going to have no problem doing that. I know sentiment is down. But remember, Bitmine, like strategy, is some of the top liquid trading stocks in the world, right? They're in the top, 200, sometimes even in the top 100. And so I don't think they have any problem raising capital. I think they had 800 million average daily volume last report that they did on Monday. So I think there's going to be no problem for raising that $300 million, and they're going to do that at 9.5% yield. And they're not convertible. So there's no dilution, and essentially a nice little convertible note. So it's going to be pretty interesting there going forward. So that's Bitmine, and I think the market's seeing that quite good. I don't know what I presume they've already said they're going to use it for corporate overheads, but particularly also to buy more ETH and stuff. So I don't know with their 446 million plus the 300 million, that might get them closer to the 5 million ETH there. So they're certainly moving forward there, and they were confident about getting to the 6 million ETH, which is 5% of the supply by then. Now the question mark is that Tom Lee says they're thinking also about maybe going to 10%, maybe even 12%, but probably 10% mark. That would be 12 million Ethereum, and that's huge. Now, remember, if we get enough volume on Ethereum, we're going to get net burning going on as well. That's a massive bullish catalyst as well. And net burning on ETH for the EIP 159 based on the right volume could also start accelerating the burn on ETH. And that all happens in the future, and it gets repriced. The market gets repriced there. So keep a look at that. We've got record staking levels right now, 32.5%. All the fundamentals are looking beautiful. The short-term market, however, on the downside, not reflecting that value yet, but the value is rolling out at great pace. And in a year's time, things could be very different. And while people might be terrified at the moment, it's actually the ultimate buying opportunity because the outlook is super huge for where Ethereum is going. All right, so that's kind of cool. Now, we're going to move on to Pulse Chain now. I think it's time. So let's do that. We got some unusual news. Bitcoin.com news. Now, apparently, I was like double blinking at this, but they got 3.2 million followers. Get Bitcoin, crypto, and economics news, 25 languages. But they did a coverage on Richard Hart. What the heck? They did. Crypto has created a lot of loud personalities. Then there's Richard Hart. Absolutely. I think that's a really good tagline. Richard has got a big personality. And I always call him the rebel of crypto, right? He's the rebel of crypto. And look, on market calls, he's been the best. Who's been better than Richard Hart on market calls? Who's been better? And I'm not talking about price calls because he's had mixed results on that. He's been good on it, but still mixed. Had a few missed calls. But on market calls with companies going down, who's been better? I don't know anyone better than him. He called most of in the last bear market, most of the companies that went down. He called and they went down. And then they went down. People lost billions of dollars, right? And some of those founders of those projects that went down used to criticize Richard, right? So that's the irony of it all. And Pulse Chain's still here. Like the value of Pulse Chain may be down, but the chain's been continuing on, for over 3 years now, almost 1,120 days, and it's just ticking away. And we'll find a bottom, and maybe the bottom's close to where we are right now, and then it's game on to the upside, right? And then once people are making money again, it's all forgotten, all the love forgotten there, except for, I guess, a few people that are not still in the market, but it's going to play. Anyway, so they put out luxury wallets, Ferraris, Hex, Pulse Chain, one of the most loyal communities in crypto. Love him or hate him, nobody ignores Richard Hart. So I thought that was a pretty interesting take there. And breaks it down. So he's got Graham here, breaks it down from Graham's videos. So they're posting another guy, and they got a video here, which is pretty crazy. So you can see that video playing out about Richard Hart. Now, I'm not going to play it here because it's got a few things on it, but you can check it out if you want to check it out. It is pretty interesting that they covered Richard Hart there, and they posted out the stream on Richard Hart. A bit of free press for them, free content, but pretty crazy, right? Pretty crazy. So if you want to watch that, go check it out there. But it's all on Richard Hart, which I thought was pretty crazy as they move through. So you can go check it out. I'm not sure what's happening there, but you got Richard in the video there. They've had 15,000 views based on it. Let me refresh. Probably got a few more, and so on. And 20,000 views. So that's only been out for a little bit there. So we'll keep watching that. That's free press for Pulse Chain. Now, you saw in the Monster thread last week that we've had a number of large influencers with hundreds of thousands of followers learning about Pulse Chain, circling around Pulse Chain. And I think since the Monster thread last year, we probably had a dozen. I probably had a dozen large influencers from having hundreds of thousands of followers to a few million followers, covering Pulse Chain, learning about Pulse Chain. Internet money was obviously a big one too. And it's been pretty exciting. And so here we're getting all this free press from Bitcoin. I thought this is crazy. It's a little more people learning about Pulse Chain. So you can kind of see it's very, very cool. Pulse Chain just slowly creeping the value there. Value in many ways. There's many layers of value that happen in Pulse Chain. Obviously, battle tested. Don't forget, we get all the free upgrades from Ethereum's upgrade with Vitalik and Tom Lee. We get all those upgrades, guys, for free, including quantum protection by 2029. It's their target date. So it's great. It's a beautiful thing. I'm sure Bretep's happy about that. All he has to do is connect the files and upload it. And Bretep being Pulse Chain dev, right? And and now we're getting the free public press as well at the bottom of the markets, arguably, and this could be positive for the upside. We know that Richard said last year he's working hard. He's after Pulse Chain season. He particularly mentioned ETH at 10,000. So maybe we have to wait a little bit for that. Any financial play, if he does do that, if you believe he's going to do that, that he might just scrape off a little bit. If your ETH is worth $2 billion or $1.5 billion, you just scrape off 50 million. You can pump Pulse Chain to the moon, right? So you can just do that every year. So that's kind of where we are, especially if ETH goes to 22K, 60K over the next few years. Richard just can scrape off a little bit while keeping the main capital and pump Pulse Chain to the moon. That's how easy it is, guys. That's how easy it is. So if you thinking that, well, I'm just taking what Richard said last year, that he's working hard. He's working for Pulse Chain season. We also see with ProveX, we've seen a lot of updates happening, right, around ID and other things. So ProveX is being upgraded by the devs. So we were looking out for that too, ZK peer-to-peer technology. And of course, we're going to have, project teams like LibertySwap incorporate that. So maybe now is around the turning point. Maybe now is the turning point there with all those things happening. Maybe it's time to throw aside the down 97% chart, and maybe start to think about the pivot point, right? The pivot point to the upside. And we're going to talk about LibertySwap coming up. They're also contributing to the value chain as well. All right, so that is pretty interesting stuff. Let's jump over to Pulse Chain and have a look at the results right now. Hope you guys are having a good time. I'm having a good time because even though we're down the markets, I think there's so many positives to the upside, and actually, a gift in the hand, right? Gift in the hand here. All right, let's go to we're not looking at PUSD ALGO wallet. Let's have a look at the Pulse chart for day 1,119, guys. Since Pulse Chain launched on the 3rd of May 2023, a full chain fork of Ethereum based on the 10th of May. And what does that mean? It means that the Pulse Chain is robust, just like Ethereum is. One of the key catalysts that people argue for Ethereum, and of course, particularly over other chains which have had stoppages and been down and stuff like that. Now we've had a few issues around copied contracts because of having no Oracle support. But apart from that, I think we're through all that stuff, and we're getting a lot of new contracts and new Oracles popping up. And we've got Fetch Oracle, got Signum Oracle launching in July. And so I think things are heading in the right direction. See what I mean? I think everything's kind of turning point here for Pulse Chain in the moment. Anyway, Pulse Chain at the moment on day 1,119 is sitting. Actually, I never brought the chart up here. We're going to bring the chart up. Let's do that. Let me just go find it first. One moment, please. All right, let's go find the Pulse Chain chart. And we're going to make sure I get the right one too. So we are sitting on the Pulse Chain charts at 506743. So we've been oscillating around 7,000. We're certainly down from that at the moment. So are we going to cascade down? That's a key thing. Or is this kind of the max dip that we're going to have around that 7,000 mark? But certainly we're pushing down the lower, and that could break the thesis, and we're going to talk about in a minute. But anyway, we're down 1.66% at the moment, so not the end of the world. We've got PHEX at the moment, 11/100th of a penny, down 1.22%. We've got PROVEX at the moment, down again quite significantly, 4035, down 3.6%. We've got PulseX at 5050 something, 5,000 something. I'm not sure exactly what the number is. We're down 1.1% there. And then we've got Ink Token at the moment at 30 cents, down quite a bit actually over the wee while. We're down 1.8% at the moment. But if on the whole, they're pretty much down about 1% for the most part, except for PROVEX down 3.6%. So that's kind of where we are. Like I say, PROVEX is definitely having some technology upgrades like ID and other things using ZK. So we'll keep a lookout for that. Let's jump over to the validators. Let's have a look at the chart there for the validators. We're sitting at 49,255, pretty similar to what we've had the last week. Moving to the gas prices, let's see what that's like. 600,000 beats, that's pretty much what we've had the last couple of days. So 90 pulse for a PulseX swap, sitting at 0006 right now, US cents for a PulseX swap. Finally, the bridge, we're going to have a look at the bridge value. This has obviously made all-time lows on the bridge value. So let's have a look at that. And it wasn't very helpful having CST go down because of regulatory threats or risks. We're sitting at 49.12 million, down 3.7% for the week, 9.5% for the last 30 days. And you can see in the chart there we're all-time lows on the old TVL for the bridge. Now, most of that is bridged in stuff as USDC, USD Tether, DAI, and ETH. And we've got, I think, about 18 Bitcoin as well. Those are key values. Obviously, with ETH and Bitcoin tanking, that's brought down the US dollar value, right? So that is some of the key stuff there. What is the bridge value? Well, the good news is apparently the last update we had, we are actually $252,250,000 there benefit there. I don't know why it's got a billion on here. I think that's their Pulse Chain stats might have a few issues there. But I think that's essentially saying that we're $250,000 net inflow there. So that's good news for the old chain. And where's that most of it coming from? Oh, apparently wrapped ETH. ETH is playing a big role there at the moment. All right. So that is the key marks. Let's go to the liquidity. You guys know I've been pulling in the liquidity side of things. In fact, we're going to talk about a post that I wrote yesterday as well. But the top peers, yesterday, what did we have? We had a massive volume on the chain. What we were up at about 8.8 million or so, somewhere in that ballpark. And we had a huge jump in the number of volumes peers trading. But today we have Pulse Chain up at 2.77 million. Yesterday we had 4 coins over $1 million. Remember that? Yesterday was beautiful. Pulse Chain still holding up pretty well at 2.77 million. We got wrapped ETH at 600K. This is from Ethereum, of course, bridged in. We got PDI, which had done stunning numbers yesterday. It was at 1 point something million, I think it was. And it is at 529,000 right now. Now, remember, PDI is getting, it is a forked, of course. Maker doesn't work properly, so it's not really a legit stable coin. I know people out there argue that, but it's broken, so not really working. But so PDI to $1 is a separate narrative. Lots of tokens can hit $1, right? Holding $1 is another thing, but this doesn't actually have the Maker mechanism for it, right? But what it does have, it has a big community. It has a lot of passionate influencers that cover it, and it also has a lot of DeFi projects covering it, not only tax tokens, but also printer tokens, all operating, supporting the old PDI. And we've talked about many of those. Hedgie, WebChefs, World's Greatest PDI Printer, I think Ethos, PMint. There's many others out there that also support the PDI there and help with volume there connected into it. We know PDI and PCock are kind of 2 key tokens that have a lot of other projects paired up to it. And it's, strengthens the whole ecosystem there. So Hex at the moment is sitting, there's PHEX sitting at 471K, ProveX at the moment 290K, PulseX at 263K, PCock sitting at 136K, had a good day in the office day, up 10%, we'll talk about that in a minute. Incentive token 110K, so we've got 8 coins over at 100K at the moment performing. And remember yesterday we had 12 and we had 4 that were over $1 million. So just that volume is really key. That volume is really key. All right, so that's a bit of a summary there. I'm going to break down the Pulse chain. Let's quickly look at the Pulse chain chart. Now, you guys know I've added a few extra things to showcase the Pulse chain, but we'd been in 11 weeks of battle, but we'd been under pressure the last 2 weeks. We knew that we were on life support. We definitely got pushed down today. So we've gone down to a low of a new all-time low of 506657. We're now at 506738. So we're up slightly from that, but certainly on the weekly, we have been pushed down below that 7. Are we going to, is it going to stop there, or does this indicate that we are going down again? Now, as we know in the RSI, we can see the RSI there telling us whether we're oversold. Has been skimming along the bottom of that range. So we're not below 30, but just above it. We only had one moment below it on the 23rd of February, but we've been sitting at about 31 and a half. And so where are we going to hold this? Well, we're still not through the woods yet. I think we've still got another week, perhaps, of volatility that we may experience with the SpaceX and Bitcoin and everything else. That's going to be pretty important. But we have been pretty resilient. So we'll see where we go from here. I don't know. It feels like a bit of maybe a 60-40, 60% down, 40% up. Whereas before this week, I would have said, we're probably 60-40 to the upside, right? Maybe even stronger. But certainly last week, it was definitely live support. So question mark here, 6742. Are we going to go down to something like 500? One more leg down before we decide to move up. But certainly Pulse chain there has been pretty resilient. So we'll keep a lookout for that. Right now, where do we need to get to? Well, I think we need to get back up to 1200 and then push through the 1700 to break the mega downtrend, right? That mega downtrend. So more work to be done, but we're not out of the woods yet. We're not out of the woods yet, as you can see in the chart today on the weekly. Now let's get rid of the overlay and let's go to the daily and let's look at that. So you can see we only got pushed down yesterday. So we're going to need a really strong move back to the upside. Now, fortunately for Pulse Chain, we have LibertySwap doing some great things. So it's not like we don't have cool things coming, but maybe we're still not quite out of the woods technically on the charts. Maybe we've still got a little bit of work to do, but I really hope we do hold on to this level, get back to 7,000 and stay in that range. Even if we're oscillating around 7,000, we're certainly on the bottom end of that, made a new all-time low. So a little bit of question mark there, 60-40, 40% in favor on the upside for me at the moment. And if we do break down, obviously below 65, then yeah, we could definitely go down to 55 or something like that. So we'll see. Now the question is, do we stay down there long? If we do go down, and do we stay in a new zone down there? Do we have a wick down and then back up, or do back to the 7,000 mark, or do we go to a new lower zone, which would be pretty depressing for the market, but it would make Pulse Chain super cheap. And liquidity is already pretty thin, right? Pretty thin. Now, do we get a market maker coming into play to help us with this? Stay tuned. Well, I guess we'll have to just watch what happens there. It's always hard to call market makers, but certainly the chart on the RSI point of view is very friendly for that on the weekly, as you guys can see. And if we put the overlays in there, you can see how that all matches in. But this structure is definitely different from the past. We've shown that many times in the period there. I'm not going to go through all that. And so the hopium is there. But if we break down, that's another leg down, right? So, man, Pulse is going to be super cheap by then if it does that, if it goes to 55 or something. All right, it's new territory. We're in price discovery, and price discovery is only as good as the buy and sellers, right? So the net buying is key there. We're at 67.37 at the moment. All right, let's jump into the Pulse Chain market. So, yeah, we big volume yesterday. Was it like 8 million or so? We're back down at 4.2, which is better than what we normally have. Normally we're down at like 3.3. So maybe we just got a bit of a residual from the previous day. But we're at 4.2 million, and we've got a bit of volume driven by PCock, right? The PCock doing pretty well there. Let's look at the top movers, though. SCADA, number one, up 18% almost. That's had some modest volume. Remember, most projects on Pulse Chain are retail. We just showed earlier that we've got 8 or 9 peers over 100,000 trading volume. So most projects under 100,000 are really retail plays. And we've got SCADA there. Is the best performer right now. Now, SCADA is from the supply team, so some good stuff happening here. Let's have a look at that chart quickly. and we'll have a look where that's going. So we're going to go to the weekly. Obviously, had a nice green day yesterday. Looks like it's about to potentially break. Got plenty of room in the RSI to do it. So we'll keep a look out for that, and that is the chart. So kind of looks like it's at a nice move up there, and plenty of room in the RSI there on the weekly. So SCADA doing pretty well. For Investor, the grandparent of OG WebChef, it's up 30% at number 2. And obviously, we've been talking about OG WebChef stuff, particularly PDI printer, which has been doing pretty damn well, pretty amazing, really. And that's at $1.15 right now on the for Investor, getting a bit of love, possibly. Let's look at the pulse ratio, reflecting that value. And of course, that's the chart on the weekly. It's back up at 170,000 pulse per Investor right now. Kind of looking positive, isn't it? Kind of looking positive. Still quite a low volume, but keep a lookout for that. That's the grandparent. Then we get into PCock. So it's been a while since PCock's been the top performers, but the news is huge today, right? News is huge. We're going to talk about that. They're doing a lot of things. They've got a lot of stuff. They're building out a massive DeFi ecosystem with the best of everything in the market. So it's pretty clear, and they're going to be hooking in top DeFi all day long. I think they said they're only at 1/10 of what they're considering building into the ecosystem. So PCock, they're going to be an absolute juggernaut powerhouse on Pulse Chain, but not just Pulse Chain. I think it's going to be a powerhouse multi-chain solution that a lot of people are going to be talking about, and that's going to be interesting to see that play out. All right, so PCock there is up almost 12% today, and that's pretty exciting. We've got 4 pairs up there. We've got the 2 big pairs, the 2 main pairs and 2 secondary pairs there. So kind of cool. 4 pairs on the move right now, and that is up 12. Now it's almost back at a penny. That's kind of the key bit. So we're almost back at a penny. We'll be watching that, do its recovery. Now let's have a quick look at the chart. I guess we'll go to the biggest pair and have a look at the volume. And look at, interesting enough, so this is my little chart here. PCock, of course, is what I call the Kraken on Pulse Chain. It is arguably the biggest, most dynamic blue chip on Pulse Chain. And we're expecting it to be, maybe Kraken's too small a word. Maybe by the end of the year, it's going to be, I don't know, a continent, I don't know what you might call it. It's going to be ginormous potentially. Now, we've obviously had the ZK wallet launch. That is evolving and just getting better and better. Mobile versions coming soon. And then there's going to be an airdrop coming too, right? So PCock could get under a lot of demand. And they're building out a lot of DeFi. Most of that DeFi, not all of it, most of the DeFi is going to be buying PCock and burning it, or buying PCock into a treasury. And of course, they use a lot of that for liquidity pools and other things as well, not just on Pulse Chain, but bridging it over other chains, etc. So these guys are very much on top of capital management, and they like to optimize. They're very good at that. So anyway, we're coming back to this triangle, which has got bigger. Triangle definitely got bigger. And we've got the bouncing off the bottom of this triangle right now. So this triangle seems to be holding up a bit better. And yeah, let's see whether we're going to go to the top of this range. I mean, it could be 1.6 cents or beyond and break through that, because in June and July, so that's up to July here. Let me just do into July. Let's go to there. So that's about into July. So in this period, they're launching multiple DeFi, like hot DeFi, the best of the breed DeFi, and we're going to talk about that now. So let's do that. All right, so they announced Liberty HyperMarket is launching ahead of the World Cup. So the World Cup's coming up in the next few days, 12th, I think it is, and going to be lasting for a week and a half or something. So users will be able to place bets on virtually anything, including World Cup outcomes. Liquidity and technology are powered by Hyperliquid X. So Hyperliquid X, they have 404,000 followers, and these guys are clever. Guess what they've done? The Liberty protocol will earn fees through the Builder program as well. Woohoo! This is what we want to see, guys. We want to see a team like LibertySwap. Maybe there's other teams on Pulse Chain. A few of them possibly can do this sort of things. Is hooking into the main crypto players and getting involved with fee earning, getting the notoriety and of the product and recognition of the products they're doing, getting listed on their sites as key solutions at the frontier of DeFi. And this is what we're seeing happen. So really excited about this. I think this is one of the most exciting things we've seen for some time. I was really hoping that LibertySwap would go down the direction they are. And the Blues Clues were pretty clear, because they're always commenting on a lot of these key big crypto platforms and response. And so I always thought that was pretty interesting. And here we are. We're starting to see that fruit of that. So liquidity and technology are powered by Hyperliquid. And of course, Hyperliquid there, obviously one of the hot projects, sitting at number 10 now. So very cool there, and of course doing perpetual markets. So the blockchain to house all finance, trade, build apps, and launch tokens on the same hyper performance chain X by Hyper Foundation. So beautiful stuff there, and using HIP4. The Liberty protocol earned fees through the builder program, so that could be pretty interesting to see how that plays. Now, they also, part of that program, they have some referrals. I'm not sure whether that's secondary referrals, so I'm not sure whether LibertySwap, I presume it will be, maybe for some of their products, maybe about for this product, maybe they'll have referrals. We'll see what happens in that space. Could be something they're holding back. But all fees generated will be used for PCock buybacks. 50% will be used to buy back and hold PCock. So that's the treasury side of it. They'll probably use it for liquidity and other things. And then the remaining 50% to use buyback and burn PCock. So very bullish news there from LibertySwap there. Now, here's a picture example. Can you guys see that? I think you guys can. And look at this. We've got one of the things, May CPI over year. What will it come in at? And of course, CPI is coming out next week, right? Same time as the World Cup soccer. So we're going to get prediction markets here, which we obviously know, Polymarket and others. It's a big deal. So very, very cool. So you can do betting, prediction markets, and this is obviously a big category of value that's being priced in the market these days. And they've got below 4%. So we've got a blue chip now coming with hyperliquid technology onto Pulse Chain. It's a multi-chain solution as well. Big deal. And of course, people can say yes or no and participate in that. So very, very cool to see that. 14,000 views on that so far. Very neat. All right, so they also go, users will be able to deposit Hyperliquid from Pulse Chain and any chain. Obviously, I love this multi-chain stuff. It just allows to get all that capital. Allows people on Pulse Chain too, that on multiple chains to bring capital back and forward. You'll be able to withdraw back to Pulse Chain or any chain through LibertySwap. Users will also be able to place bets privately, powered by Liberty Shield and Railgun. So you also got LibertySwap's privacy with Railgun in there as well, and Liberty Shield. So it's a win-win from there. This is the way. Absolutely nice. More PCock buy and burn. So some good stuff happening there. Big deal. Great to see. I think there's a real winner chicken dinner. But that's not all, guys. That's not all. So let's go down. Let's go down here and check out the other big thing that's coming. And we're going to talk about that too. So let's scroll down here a little bit. So this is the other big thing, right? So we've got Hyperliquid coming in June. June in here. And then we've got, what have we got after that? We've got LibertySwap and perpetuals. And this is huge. This is huge. Now, it's going to be interesting to see, presumably they're going to use Hyperliquid as well, because obviously they do the perpetuals and spot. But to do stocks is awesome. So we're going to be able to trade crypto, stocks, and commodities on Pulse Chain, guys. Is that outstanding or what? I think that's huge. Yeah, it's pretty awesome news, guys. That's huge. That's coming to Pulse. So just the beginning of the phase. We've seen Securitize. We've seen, the Robinhood. We've seen Ondo, which Ondo is about to do perpetuals. They've already done securitization. Ondo's doing 2/3 of the tokenizing in the market right now. We've got X stocks there with NASDAQ and partners and crypto doing tokenization. It's the beginning. Already up to $36 billion. And that's just going to scale into the, we'll look next year, we're probably looking at $1 trillion plus market over on the crypto. It could be even more than that coverage. So it's a pretty big deal. So stocks, commodities, financial products, money market, bond market, all those sorts of things, potentially tradable, indexes, ETFs, it's game on. So this is huge, guys. I don't really think the Pulse Chain market's waking up to it. This is a big deal. And it's multi-chain as well. So people from all chains can participate in the LibertySwap product there. So I think this is massive, really exciting to see that happening. And it's awesome. So let's not forget, what else are they doing? Well, what else are they doing? Well, at the moment, they've got a rollout with the Liberty pools, right? And of course the yield product. So that's I think there's different components to it, but that is scaling at the moment as well. So let's have a quick look at that too. So that's what's happening now. So we've got Hyperliquid markets in June with predictions and betting, and then we got July there with LibertySwap perpetuals and stops doing crypto, which we're used to, but stocks and commodities. OMG, guys, it is massive. This is exciting. And then what else? We've got other things coming down the line. These going to be rolling out DeFi hooks all the time. We're going to have Liberty lending and everything else coming down the line there. Stablecoin, they've been teasing around that. Keep a lookout, guys. These guys are rolling out the mega roadmap, and really is the Kraken blue chip dynamics on Pulse Chain, right? So very excited about that. Now, all fees will be used for PCock buy and bans. So even their next products are swap and perpetuals and stocks and commodities. So you're going to be able to buy stocks, guys, and hold them and commodities as well. So gold, silver, whatever, it's all going to be game in there. I don't know how many of the rare earths. There's about 14, 15 rare earths. Maybe they'll have that on there too. I don't know. But certainly the main commodities. Maybe they'll have copper. I don't know. Copper there. We got 50% for buybacks and burns of PCock, 50% for buyback and hodl of PCock. So a lot of potential fees. All these are adding on top of each other, layering on top of each other to build the treasury and buy and burn PCock. So it is pretty awesome. They've been consistent. We love people when they say something and when they do something, they match those together, and you got your best friends, besties for life, right? Besties for life there, the old PCock there. So exciting stuff there going on there. Nice stuff. All right, so that's some key stuff happening there at the moment. And I want to just pull back here. How are we doing for time? We're up to an hour and 25 minutes. Man, we're just having so much fun lately, have we not? Yesterday I did like a 2-hour live stream, for goodness sake. And here we are. But I want to point out a little bit there. Don't forget, if you're on X, hit the repost there. We only got 2 reposts on the show. Come on, let's get this out. This is exciting, guys. Let's repost that show. Just take a minute right now and smash the repost. I mean, come on. This is huge news. Huge news. All right, so let's get into it. Now, I wanted to get into some of the big stuff here. Now, I posted this out about Hyperliquid, and this was just this morning, guys. This morning. This is the CEO of Hyperliquid, David Shamez, and of course, talking about Hyperliquid strategies. Now, LibertySwap is deep into this Hyperliquid. So, Hyperliquid being in the top 10 now, just flipped, what is it, ADA, not ADA, it flipped Dogecoin into the top 10 over the last week, and it is just powering up to the upside. It is huge, and now we're deep in the weeds now with this. This is awesome, guys. This is so good. So really excited about that. Now, I did a little review. I just decided, we've had some major changes in Pulse Chain at the bottom of the market. Arguably, we're at the bottom of the market, and we're either there or pretty close to it in finding the market, right? Assuming we don't get one more leg down in June, right? In June. But if all holds up, we keep fighting that 7,000. We get a rebound on the next day or two. We'll see. Maybe it might take a week or two. Maybe we'll take a week or two. We're pretty close to it, I think. So Pulse Chain Dex is expanding on Pulse Chain. So Switch, of course, from Brandon's been doing a great job. And then LibertySwap, of course, doing a great job there. Both of them expanding our DEXs. Now, I did this yesterday. And, of course, the data is based from TVL from DApps and volume from DEX Screener and DApps, right? So I had to do a bit of reconciliation to make sure the data was fairly accurate, right? Now, excludes 9-inch because 9-inch has controversial things about it, right? So excludes that. But we got PulseX at number 1 there. So PulseX, I went through and manually added the TVL sitting in the 3 pools, right? The V1, V2, and the stablecoins. So $53 million, 24-hour volume yesterday. We had a good volume day yesterday, so it's obviously got the high volume from yesterday. Not the peak volume, but certainly the high volume at 6.5 million. We had 5.4 million volume, obviously Richard Hart there, PulseX. 9mm, our second biggest DEX, 3.16 million TVL, and with 24-hour volume of about 750,000 based on DEX Screener, right? So that was pretty awesome. The PHUX balancer, which we don't often talk about with DEX Screener because it doesn't include it, but TVL is still sitting at about 1.2 million, and the volume is still about 110K yesterday. So that's still adding on, a decent 100K to volume that we don't normally talk about because it's not showing in DEX Screener. Then, of course, we've had the new entrants, guys, which I think has been exciting. Switch X5, right? So PulseX is V2 technology, so you have to 50-50 of the liquidity per pair when you provide liquidity. 90mm is a V3, so you can do either one or all sorts of price ranges, concentrated, etc. And then we've got V4, right? We've got the balancer fork. Now, balancer forks are particularly good mathematically for stablecoins with the ratio, right? And of course, we saw some quasi thing done with stablecoins between 3 peers on PulseX from Richard Hart. It was one of his chess moves. Balancer, of course, has that very efficient, more efficient than V2 in terms of the price difference between stablecoins. So it makes it much more closer than the slippage you might get with a V2. Sorry. So we had $1.2 million in that, and of course $110,000 yesterday. Now, Switch X5, the new entrance from Brandon. Brandon's done a great job with this. Now, the only thing about it is the lock period, and I understand what he's trying to do with it. But because he's trying to balance out the inflation at the beginning when you first launch, I get it. But as a user, you may get a bit frustrated by that because you're then kind of forced to be a long-term holder, which may end up being a good thing. But in the short term, you're not going to be able to play your short plays. There's a bit of a trade-off there going up there. And of course, a little bit unexpected with the locking increase, but we're going to talk about that too. But I think overall, I think it's all going to be left in the past, and I think we'll end up being very good protocols because it is amazing regarding automated liquidity management, and he's done an amazing job there. Best in the market for V33. So pretty cool. So we're going to check that out in a minute, but that's got $300,000 in TVL yesterday, and it had $200,000 in volume, which was record volume for SwitchX5. So we're going to keep a lookout for that as it increases volume, arguably, and contributes even more. And I don't know whether it's going to be 3 months or 6 months or 9 months in the first year with the most highest inflation before you get the first halving. Remember, it's 2.5 years to get all the liquidity out, 970 million tokens. A lot of that will be staked and burned and lots of things like that. So we'll see what the final numbers is. When will the bottom price will be? Well, it's got to be sometime this year, right? Arguably, unless the market tanks in the second year. But it's got to be something. If the next 2 years is bullish, then we may see some good stuff happening there with the price as well. So the first year is got the most inflation coming out. So watch that. A lot of it gets locked and burned. So that's an issue for it in the future. 2 years time. So it's going to be pretty interesting watching that. And of course, how does it earn more volume, earn more fees, and become more valuable? Right? I love it. But the technology itself, beautiful. With the automated market making there, taking away all the clever stuff away. You don't have to be brilliant anymore, and you can just let it do its thing. It's going to do all the hard work for you. Now, Liberty Pools, of course, that's been around for 21 days. Liberty Pools has been around for 8 days. This was yesterday, so that you can add one more day on. Liberty Pools, 8 days. Now, really, Liberty Pools only really ramped up yesterday because they had their first DEX aggregator that I'm aware of, which is Petius, our top DEX aggregator. Although I must say, SwitchX must be getting pretty close. And they ended up having $120,000 in TVL and $25,000 in volume. And they've just started. I was actually impressed with the jump up from 8 days ago, where they had one main pool, the PCock pool, and of course now OG WebChef with PDI printers all in there, and it's really, really exciting what that's done. So that's very exciting. So total TVL yesterday it was 57.8 million. The 24-hour volume was 6.5 million. And these 5 DEXs are really playing a huge role in expanding that, and particularly the 2 new ones. SwitchX5 gives us V4 and automated liquidity management, which is beautiful. And then Liberty Pools coming in with a V3. And of course, they're going to have their own secret sauce around that, the yield protocol as well. We'll keep a lookout for that, including some global dashboard stuff, which they said is coming, which we're going to look at in a minute. Hopefully we got the post here. Now I posted, a bit of evidence around these protocols. That's SwitchX, that is LibertyX Pools, which is still evolving, and as long as both of those still evolving. And then of course we've got PulseX, our main DEX from Richard R, and then of course 9mm, which has been ticking away, giving most of their profits back to the holders of 9mm, and that's been performing very well. In fact, already moved, relatively speaking, before PulseChain's even found the bottom. And they've already been moving up in price, for the last month or two. So pretty solid, maybe 2 months. Been pretty good. Hey, we got Craig in the house. Afternoon all. Hey, great to see Craig. Man, we're having a good time. Yesterday we had a 2-hour show. Today we're having a great time because there's so much good news. Even though the market's down, the fundamentals are so damn good, and it's exciting what this will do for the chain. So I'm very, very excited about that. Now, I did want to go back. I think I had 1 or 2 things I want to talk about here. We're going to get it all out of the way, so kind of cool. Now, I asked them, I said, hey, look, can you please add a global or totals for TVL and volume on V3 pool for Liberty Pool site? Remember, it's only early days still. Really, yesterday, I know it launched 8 days ago. Really, yesterday was the first day because they had DEX aggregator. Now, DEX aggregator means that people are doing swaps on top DEX aggregators like Petius or Switch. A lot of volume routes through the best DEXs, right? So they get basically Liberty Pool will get free demand, basically, and that will add more value, more fees, and to the protocol and attract more capital, arguably, right? So that's the old idea. And then they responded, said, absolutely, we're working on this dashboard. This reflects older data. Our TVL is high right now. So just taking note of that. I had the TVL, as I said yesterday, what I said, 120,000, something like that. It's 88 back on this old snapshot here. But you can see PulseChain V3, and they've got some cool stuff. They've got TVL, they've got volume, they've got fees. This is not published yet, so this is coming. TVL fees there. They got protocol fees, they got transactions, they got the fee volume. Remember, V3, you can set a fee. So the liquidity provider who sets up the pool sets the fee up to 1%. You can do lower. And of course, 80% that goes back to the liquidity owner or the people that are providing the volume, and then 20% goes to buyback and BMNP, or 10% buyback PCock, 10% goes to buy and put in the PCock treasury. So you can see all these products are adding on to each other. Liberty Pool, Liberty Hyper, all coming with the prediction markets, and of course spot and perpetuals coming up with commodities. All that is coming in to support the PCock treasury and PCock buy and burn. Pretty cool. Now you can see the volume trend in there. They got the fee split, which you've got the protocol, which is the LibertySwap PCock thing, and then you got the mega volumes down here. Total volume, total fees, 24-hour volume fees percentage. That'll be the average weighted, I guess. And then we've got total transactions, total fees, volume, etc., and transaction counts. So really cool having those global / total totals there, and you can do it by time, right? 24 hours, 48 hours, 30 days, all time, which is great. I'm so glad they got all time. Sometimes people don't put all time on; they just do 30 days or something. Like, what? I want all time too. That's kind of the main thing. How successful has this been, or how well is it going? So I think that's huge. So nice stuff there. They said trading on V3 will be so good, one step at a time. We're getting there. So obviously there's different components to this. They are scrolling up. They're rolling up there. Only getting better from here. We're moving a large chunk of LP here too to boost buybacks and burns of PCock. So they're going to move obviously a lot of capital that they control. They control more than just PCock. They obviously been buying bolts and ETH and things like that. Their multi-chain solution. So we're expecting they're going to be moving more LP into that as well. And exciting stuff. So keep a lookout for that. I think it's going to be pretty cool. So I think that's some of the highlights there. But what a mega stuff here. LibertySwap starting to roll out, and they give us very clear targets of where they want to launch. And I like this month-to-month thing because it's not only is it a beautiful roadmap, but it means that they got the time to get the coding over the line, get the checks and balances, and all that stuff in play. So I think that's very exciting there for the chain. Very cool. So we've obviously had just a few things around Richard Hart posted. Let's see here. What else there? They got a cool question about the burn address, have they? Which burn address should we send PCock to so that DEX Screener, CoinGecko, and CoinMarket automatically detect supply change? 369 is not updated automatically by the services. Let's 100% at this stage of the bear market to support PCock. And let's burn 100% there. Yeah, absolutely. So they've got a couple of different addresses, the dead address and the 00 address there. I think there's at least 4 ways of burning tokens from memory. Those are the other alternatives, I think. But only was only one or two different. Is there only one? I can't remember which one it is, but takes it off the total supply. I'm sure devs will respond to them for that. Burn it all. DDRS has worked with DEX Screener in the past. Got it. Thanks you, brother. So that's from PewSwap. So yeah, that dead address might be the one. Yeah, the dead there. I feel like this is more commonly used for ETH days. But arguably it's got to take it off the total supply off the contract, right? I mean, you got to Ether scan or Pulse scan. That's kind of the play. All right, seems like a better option. Is widely recognized as the 000. Yeah. All right, so that's kind of cool. What do we got here? It's cool to see Crypto Coffee and Alpha Baller. They're doing these ZKX wallets from LibertySwap. So remember, LibertySwap, we got the yield protocol. We got the Liberty Pool V3, which is evolving, right? And then we've got the perpetual markets and spot market coming with commodities and stocks and stuff, which I think is brilliant. That's major. And then we've got the prediction markets as well. So these guys are onto it, and we know there's other things coming down the line. We've got Marketplace, we've got Liberty Lend, we've got the airdrop, we've got lots of things happening. Meme coins. This is going to be truly a glorious year for the old LibertySwap. And you're wondering why they're so bullish. Well, because they're building out a long roadmap, right? And they're working a lot of different tools, and it's exciting to see, right? So keep a lookout for that. It really is the Kraken on Pulse Chain, and we'll see how that all goes. So kind of cool. All right, let's see what else. Is there anything else before we wrap this up on LibertySwap? Like I say, Hyperlane, HyperMarket, June for predictions and betting, spots and perpetuals coming July. So good, so good. All right, yeah, and that was this video just came out a few hours ago, by the way, from the LibertySwap. Sorry, from the Hyperliquid CEO. So that was pretty cool. I think that's it. Is that it? Is that what we're up to? I think we are. Let's see. I think that's kind of the key stuff there. What did I put in there? Yeah, that was that preview that we had for the Hyperliquids. Seeing if we've got anything else going on here. V3 is doing well, fully organic. And I just summarized all that, so it's kind of cool. So Awesome stuff happening with LibertySwap. Now, it looks like there's a post here from Richard Hart, just came out 3 hours ago. Pulse chain is better than Zcash. Why? Well, Zcash was just emergency patched and the network down for many because a vulnerability was discovered and patched, but it's impossible to know if it was ever exploited unless an exploiter confessed. It's a funny property of most privacy coins that you can't detect if someone inflation bug or not, because you can't actually count the total supply. Pulse chain is safer software. Ethereum is Pulse chain's testnet, and it's a wonderful testnet. And that's what I get back to saying. We got a free innovation roadmap with the EIEP upgrades. We can pick what we want essentially, and it's fantastic. And of course, we've got the battle-tested Ethereum / Pulse chain operating like a boss with slightly improved tokenomics, right? The IEP 1509's got extra 25% burning, etc. And it's pretty cool. And the block times as well. All right, so keep a lookout for that. Now, obviously for EIP 159, we need more volume, and I guess it's coming down the track. But essentially, I think most of the tokens Pulse is still deflation in many ways, and also PulseX obviously is deflationary, and Hex of course depends on staking. I can't remember Crispy Man's recent report, but obviously staking happening near it as well. Pins the old Hex. All right, so that is pretty cool. What else? I think that's it. Is that it? So did we go through everything? I think we did. So PCock sitting at 98. Let's jump out of there. We're still going down the rich list. So Zero, which is doing about 10 different DeFi protocols. They essentially seem like they're maybe part of the PCock team or something similar. They're part of the Quadfecta. They're up 9% right now. We got Zendog, also part of the Quadfecta with PCock, tied into PCock. That's up 5% right now. So all of them getting a lift from PCock's rise. PCock moving into number 2 spot since we were started, and Favesta got pushed down a little bit there. Zendog obviously in as well. So we got Zero, Zendog, and PCock all on the move. The Pulse guy is part of the Quadfecta. So we've got all of the PCock ones, the leader ones, they're all moving up today, up 4.4%. So PCock there shining a light, but not a big day. Not 30% gain on the news. I still think the market's underappreciating it, and maybe it just has to wait till those products start launching. But V3's pool's rolling out. It's increasing in capital, and of course a multi-chain solution. So we'll keep watching for that. Liberty right now, number 10, is up 4.6%. Saw some Minimil, the special food maker in Europe, still sitting on Pulse chain, but not using their buy and burn pool. They've probably got 20 million plus. I don't know. I could probably do some math on it, but that's just sitting there probably in the coffers. They're supposed to go to Solana, but here we are. June already. We're still here. I need to get an update on that. I keep saying it, but haven't got round to speaking the Deutschlander. But that's Wolfgang, right? CEO, up 3% there. We do have a few Pulse chain influencers, and one of them I think works in Source on Minimil, and we haven't seen anything. I don't think I've seen anything from them recently. So food for thought there. One of the UFO peers, a couple of UFO peers in the mix, 13 and 16. They're up just around about 1% or so on average. Ink Dollar sitting at $1.04. That beautiful premium faster bill. You know how to make a stable coin profitable. It's up 1.6%. I guess if the market sells it down. We've got a PulseX peer in there, of course. No volume on that one, or a little bit of volume on it. Number 17 is Top Hat. Now, Top Hat is quite a bit of its LP tied into PCock, but also Pulse. That's up just over 0.5% right now for Crypto Coffee. Teddy Bear from James Maria up 0.6% with the Troper. Bonnie has actually not done too bad lately, is it? It's up 0.5% right now, and that is on the rise. Look at that. It's on the rise. Let's go look at the Pulse. I'm not sure who's running this one, but that's doing pretty well on the old Bonnie. Recent meme coin, was it? Inspired Richard Hart's first ride. So there we go. And that is says it's got no issues. Obviously, do your own due diligence. It's been around for 1 year and 3 months, but look at that chart. It's who's holding that chart? Who's buying that up? It's a pretty invincible one. All right, so Bonnie doing pretty well, obviously, as you can see, all time. We've got Solid X peer there for some reason. It's slightly green, and that's it. So we got 21 peers that are in the green are the top 100 trading, but PCock leading the way today along with SCADA. So SCADA and PCock for net supply, and PCock they're moving away. And maybe it's just the beginning. We saw that triangle chart. Maybe it's just the beginning of a rally there for PCock after it's had a bit of a consolidation. I guess you got to get rid of a few of the big OGs from the beginning of pump tires time. It certainly got rid of a few of them about a month or so ago, maybe 6 weeks ago it was, I think, and just been just slightly floundering with Pulse stand down. Now the big losers today, well, GoPulse. GoPulse shut down, but they've moved their websites going over to LibertySwap. That's down 19% right now. Still a decent capital, 37k liquidity, but I think the GoPulse guys pretty much sold into that, didn't they? After they passed it on to LibertySwap. But let's have a look at the price there, just below 4 cents. Let's go to the daily here. Actually, let's go to the weekly, right? So that's the weekly charts there. Look at the volatility. Let's go to the daily again. Look at that thing. So no doubt the red candles probably are GoPulse themselves sending it down. Obviously, it's my speculation, but it seems to make sense. All right, so we've got PMint there as well, down 70%. One of the PDI projects, right? Now you put PDI in, and you get PMint. That's down 70%, so that's just below 8 cents, but certainly adds volume, 11k on this pair, but still holding up. It's obviously rolling down, but still holding there at just under 8 cents there for the old PMint. Ethos there. Ethos, of course, is also a recent DeFi one, Cabal King. And that is doing PDI too. So both PDI projects down, sitting at 10 cents right now. Pulse ratio, so look at that. That is down just below 15. So that's rolled over a bit here, but still ticking away. Volume at 2.5. Volume's key, right? If you're in a reflection token that's supporting, giving you PDI, I think that's pretty much how this works, right? What do we got there? We've got the Intel, 5% buy and sell tax. Then you want the volume, right? And I always say you got to kind of have a minimum of 2,500 on these retail plays, and it seems to be ticking over much more than that, 6k. Yesterday was on the low side, 2.5, but that's kind of the minimum that you want. You want it to be ticking over at least a couple $1,000 so that you're earning that yield. We say that, but that is it, and that's from Cabal King, and I think technology is applied by Nexium. I think that's the one. Or Kairos. I get myself confused these days. But True Farm, down 11.6% from True Farm, sitting at 33 cents, one of our top 2 farms. I did a bit of a post on that yesterday, and you can see that here down there somewhere. Let's see, where did I put that? Now, this is the first post that I'm doing on farming DeFi, but I will be doing, I don't know where it's gone. It's disappeared. Where did it go? Where'd it go? It disappeared. Anyway, I did do a post, I promise you. I don't know where it is, but I did one. Anyway, so I'll hope to find that. But I did a post on the farming. Now, that's the first one, but I'm going to do a lot of changes for next week's one. So if you're a farm or DeFi out there, you want to get into that midweek post. This is the secondary one, complementing the monster thread, which has the news and then, of course, honorable mentions, and then, of course, top popular DeFis. Then that's going to be in place. So look forward to that. And I'm going to be rapidly expanding that in many different ways. So that's coming out. We just wanted to kick it into gear yesterday, and then we're going to make a lot of change for virality moving forward. So keep a lookout for that. It's going to be a big deal. It's going to complement also the X Spaces run by Neil and Daniel from True DeFi that do the DeFi on Pulse Chain. So we're really going to particularly focus on some of the popular projects and farms and DeFi printers and things like that. So the ones that have kind of been around for a while. So stay tuned for that. It's going to be pretty exciting. All right, so we've got Switch down here as well, sitting now obviously down 11.5% here. Obviously the emissions, that you got that early emission phase, so this chart's not surprising, and that's kind of why the locked has gone from 75 to 95% on the non-switch pairs, and the switch pairs have gone to 50% to 75. It's just about managing the first couple of months of high emission rates. Then, of course, you give high emission rates so that people will put capital in, and then you earn more fees, right? It's a logical thing. It's what you're going to do. Anyone's going to do it, right? And therefore, that's why the Treasury had 15 million burned, and that gives the Treasury control at least for up to 3 months. So that's kind of the play. It reduces over time every month, but it still has a lot of power. And so that's once we get past the 3 months, it's going to be pretty interesting. It's going to be a journey. And of course, you want TVL to be high, you want the fees to be high, and if Pulse Chain reverses, then it all go up to the upside. So kind of cool there. Now, 2 of the posts, I think there's a little update here. We're going to have a quick look at that. Well, we're going another 2-hour show. I think we are, guys. I think it's inevitable. It's happening. All right, so let's go to the analytics here. So earning. Now, remember, this is V4 or 3VV, I think V33. But we've got 2 pairs, and then they saw the 2 pairs yesterday. In fact, I front run my coverage yesterday. I think front run the news update about it. So I think I was ahead of it early. We had Switch Hex and Switch ETH there, and it's got concentrated yield. So you can see these APRs can get pretty high if your liquidity happens to be in the concentrated zone. And because it's automated, it gets reset like every 2 hours or so. And so you can get back into the high earning fees. But the thing with a lot of the fees you're earning, if you're in Switch, 75% is getting auto locked. So you're becoming a long-term owner basically, and it will come out in 2 years. So it pushes all that value discovery in 2 years' time. So there's a bit of a trade-off between short-term, long-term, medium, long-term. But all the non-Switch peers also have the same kind of dynamics. Different farms have different concentrated yields. They've definitely come down quite a bit. So we'll be watching that. But that's essentially it at the moment on those. Let's go to the analytics overall. Remember, there's epochs. I think we must be in epoch 4 because it's been like 4th week. So it must be there, which means rewards are being paid out for at least 3 weeks by my account. And so total locked value at the moment, 286. I think that's up from yesterday or similar to yesterday. Volume is down 28% from yesterday. Yesterday was such a big day. We were at 205,000 or something. And a voter revenue, 200,400. All-time volume now after, what do we say, 22 days is 2,337,000. So it's not bad. Total trading fees, 3,200, and it's still rolling out. Still early days, and we're at the bottom of Pulse Chain. So I think it's doing pretty well. And the technology is beautiful. The automated farm managing yields is great. Just a great tech. We've got 286,000 TVL. You can see TVL there. And the fees, the volume, is taken away as well. I don't know, that's 1 day. That's 1 day volume. Let me go to the month chart there. So you can see yesterday. Ignore the current part. I think that doesn't reflect it properly. So we've got 200,000, and it will come down to 132. Is that where we are now? About 145. So pretty similar numbers there. That chart's a little bit delayed. I don't know what's going on with there. Maybe it's just the way it renders. But that's kind of where we are. So kind of cool. This is correct. This chart's correct. 286. What does this chart say? It says 8,500. So I guess it moves on to a new day. I think they need to fix this chart up a little bit there. Brandon, if you're watching, may want to do a bit of work on just that last day. Something's not quite updating there. He'll probably say, it's just the way it goes. So screw it. That's fine. I'm just giving my feedback. All right. So that is pretty much it right now on the old SwitchX. So we've covered LibertySwap, covered SwitchX. And of course, we had some update from Brandon. Let me go to that quickly. Brandon, and have a look at that. So that was out earlier. Let me scroll down here. Yeah, so new farms, this is 12 hours ago. I already covered it yesterday, so I already front run this news. SwitchX Central pools are now live, all with 75% locking there. So they've changed the locking percentage, so you do need to think about that. You'll get all these yields, but they will essentially be locked. You'll be able to, if you want to sell down some of the rest, you can. The alternative of not selling down is you go all in, right? And then you go lock, and you can lock it. And if you want to go even next level, and you want to get 2x your switch power, which gives you more of the rewards over time, then you 2x burn it, right? You 2x burn it there, which is full-on commitment. So a lot of people generally just lock it, depending on because you want to get your tokens out the other end in 2 years' time, or 1 year. You can do any time you want. It fixes the amount of switch you get, which is your V switch, and the V switch affects the amount of rewards you get, right? And it's fairly modest, obviously, fees, but it's a business that's ramping up, and so on. So just take note of that. But that is from Brandon there. But I did cover it on live, so that is it at the moment. Have we got any other posts from them? From Brandon? I think that's it. DGM Roundtable. So as Brandon started streaming.
Their entire
Yes, so Brandon's streaming again. Isn't that cool? So cool stuff there, Brandon. That is DGM Roundtable there. Who's he got on there at the moment? I don't really know these people. Oh, we've got Stevenson in there, and Bean, a guy called Bean. So kind of cool. That is it at the moment. So good to see him streaming again. And we knew that he was fixing up his streaming office. Maybe he bought all that gear. I saw the picture of that. All right. So, wow. Cool stuff, right? Cool stuff is happening. That is the old markets right now. What else have we got down there? Die Hard. There's another PDI project. So all the PDI projects are down. All the PDI projects are down today. 11%. Ethos, Hard there. P-Mint. Pulse Bitcoin's down today from Fat Sammy. He's doing a great job, isn't he? Doing a great job streaming one of the, apart from myself, he's got to be one of the most 2 regular streamers out there that's got a decent audience and community engagement. And he's just a great guy, does great stuff. So if you haven't checked out Fat Sammy, check him out. Doing really great. 9% there. Reserve Tape, James Maria, XUSD team, 9% down today. World's Greatest PDI Printer, which we've been following, right, for the last couple of weeks in particular. It is down 6.8%, sitting at 69 cents, so it's down a little bit. But man, has the yield been insane and been insanely incredible. And yesterday was a key contributor. Also another PDI printer, right? So there's 4 projects, PDI printer, all on the downside today. PDI printer doing the best though. But look at the rewards in there, 18,340 over the last 24 hours. A daily APR or ROI, I should say, of 1.9%. 3 days, 5.36 and 16.75% over last week. And yesterday, that was close to 20%, wasn't it? 20%. So some insane amount. They've bought 8 million DAI as well with that. So you get a PDI minted to your wallet. So if you're bullish about PDI, then that's pretty bullish, right? So pretty cool. But the volatility in the underlying price, you've got to take that into account, and also the volumes that you're earning. So, high risk, high reward, but certainly it's been pretty good lately. It was very popular last year, if you remember, the OG WebChef projects. There's many of them, and that's ticking away. All right, a couple still surviving, I would say. And that one there seems to be the one that's getting pushed quite a bit. That's pretty much it. Everything else is kind of down. ProvX, so we're going to look at ProvX quickly because obviously that's down a lot, even though the technology is ramping up. Look at that chart. That's the weekly chart. Let's look at the daily chart there. We worked down. The previous low was just a couple of days ago. We got down to 403,000, and that was slightly below the best sacrificer, which is Buckamentals, right? Buckamentals essentially got a free bag, so he's hyper bullish about this, and he's been posting about his excitement. Everyone's going to be excited with a free bag. Now, he did have to do a bit of work for it. They had to do the sacrifice setup, and it's not completely free. But they're 4035, but a great ROI, right? Great ROI, many X's. So here we are at 35, so we're just above the best sacrifice price based on the Buckamentals, which was the ProvX sacrifice pool, I think, if I remember. But let's have a look at ProvX. I don't know if this is going to cause me a problem. This could be risky, but we're fine. All right, trust is dead. Long live ProvX. You obviously can launch the app there and so forth. So I think this is the actual official site. But ticking away there. 403500. That's a chart there. Obviously, lots of potential applications. How ProvX works: seller locks crypto, buyer generates a proof with the ZK technology, zero knowledge proof technology. Smart contract releases it. So that's the basic idea. So you can check that out. Richard Hart explains ProvX. You can't beat that. The exchange killer, of course, is one of the main interventions there. Crypto is invented to remove middleman. Obviously, this is a long-time ethos of Richard Hart. Yet centralized exchanges have become the biggest middlemen of them all. Well, they're getting more powerful, right? Because they're partnering with TradeFi as major on-ramps. And if the Clarity X goes through, Coinbase and Robinhood, king of the hills, right? Along with maybe Binance USA. So sell provides proof, buyer approves, and math settles it. That's it. Really an idea of setting it out there. And you can see some of the interface there, authority check, payment data, ZK proof there. Kind of cool. Now, we've seen a few updates here, apparently around ID, digital ID, and other upgrades. So it looks like the devs are on the move with the old ProvX. And we know, it's got to obviously get adoption as well. Currently in beta, right? But that is the front end, the buy sell stats. And maybe I'll probably call up this. Now, the big thing, of course, is that it's got these currencies coming into it, right? So obviously fiat currency, and of course platforms like Cash App, Venmo, and we see, what do we see? We see LibertySwap moving into that space as well, and obviously we've seen Ramp now as one of our major bridges, also doing gateways to multiple countries around the world. So that's kind of key too. All right, so there we go. That is where we are right now. I don't know what the stats is, but the stats in the play. It's got apparently $800 in here. Yeah, so I haven't been spending much time on this. Probably my bad, but I'll try and do a bit more of that in the future. So let me do a deep dive back into ProvX before I do some coverage, so I'm not talking diddly what's. All right, so exciting times. Now, one thing I haven't talked about, which is, so that's pretty much it. Those are the markets down right now. So not a great day for the rest of these, PDI in particular, and a few other projects, but a great day for PCock, and maybe the beginning of glory is coming as the Kraken rolls out. So maybe take a little while for the market to catch up to their DeFi rollouts. Now, the one thing I was going to say was, Richard Hart is working. He's been pretty social, so we were feeling good there. Obviously, we were talking about top teams. Internet Money still building out, expanding their wallet. 190 something countries, 40 chains, time token. You get a share of the DEX value on there. We don't talk much about the swapping there. Doesn't show up on deck screen, of course. You have to go to the Internet Money Wallet site. KG's out there and about. Recently got on Change Now video and stuff like that. So we've got lots of good things happening. We've obviously got something like a dozen new influencers out there with big followings in the play. We've got top tier DeFi rolling out. Really, the best of the best is rolling out with LibertySwap and a few other projects. We're looking forward to a lot of Stu's projects with Tetra, Web3 kind of technologies, interacting with smart contracts, making it really easy to use, democratizing it, but like AI democratizes knowledge. You basically got a PhD at your beck and call. And then, we've got Signum Oracle coming out from Stu, many other cool things like that over the next 6 weeks. I think there's 6 protocols rolling out there. We'll probably cover that again. And then we've got, Faster Dual coming out with his multi-chain liquidity fork, which, as I understand, is the first of its kind. And that's obviously ProveX VPulse from Vouch, going to be early supported tokens in there, including probably Ink Dollar or Ink Printer and something like that. So keep a lookout for that. We're waiting for that to launch. That's in public testnet, but I think he's probably waiting for market timing, as a lot of devs probably are. And then we're getting a lot of innovation in the farm space from Kairos and the True Farm team. We're getting a managed approach from True Farm with their 2x Pulse miner. I really like that. Pulse Chain needs kind of a managed fund approach with the SRE fund. And then we're getting, really cool DeFi launches for Cabal King, Nexian, and Kairos lately, doing key Richard Hart tokens. So you got the nice hedge there with the Pulse, ProveX, and Hex. So once all that turns around, we find the bottom moves up. That would be fantastic there as well. So lots of cool activities happening on the chain. Now, we've also got the DEXs, which I've just been talking about, the switch pool, SwitchX Fine, and that's tied into the DEX aggregators are now connecting up. So we've got this beautiful marriage between the DEX aggregators like Switch and Batias, marrying into all the DEXs, whether it's PulseX 9mm, SwitchX 9-inch, whatever it's going to be. And of course, Liberty Pools as well, which has jumped on the screen there. So you can kind of see we're kind of evolving a really good ecosystem, and at the right time in the market cycle for Pulse Chain and crypto. Maybe June's going to be a bit rough, and then we fly out through the other side. That's looking very, very probable for me. And so good stuff happening. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. I enjoyed talking about it. And man, we went through everything, didn't we? Stock market, economic news, the crypto majors. We do it every day, as long as okay, we're here. Then we're here, and of course, great stuff happening. Don't forget to repost the show on X. It really makes a big deal. Let's magnify the audience because, hey, look, I'm the largest Pulse Chain influencer doing daily coverage, comprehensive coverage of Pulse Chain, and also obviously covering the big major crypto themes as well. So everyone's getting if you're new to crypto, getting a great education. If you're in crypto, then obviously you know a lot of the stuff, but maybe you're learning a few things too. And of course, secondly, we're doing the major publications on Pulse Chain, the monster thread every week. Hitting tens of thousands of people every week for 56 weeks now, 57 coming up on Monday. Great, highlighting many great projects that are on Pulse Chain, as well as starting up this new DeFi farming thread on Thursdays for the midweek. So we're getting full week coverage. That will be built up. We'll build it up every week, and that's just going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. So you get out there, support, folks. We're doing the streaming. We're doing the publications. We're covering the news. We're covering the people, which is the most important thing. Obviously, people number one. And it's exciting times. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let's get out there. Let's win. Let's win. Always be a winner. Never be a loser. Always be a cup half full. Never be a cup half empty. That's a rule in life, let alone crypto. Encourage you go from strength to strength. Have diversification in your portfolio. Very important. And pick off the good stuff, right? The good stuff there. Keep away. If you don't have the emotional stability for risky stuff, keep away from the risky stuff. That's pretty much it. And if you are going to do extremely risky stuff, maybe 5% of your portfolio, but make sure you're in the main stuff, the stuff that's most probable to win, right? And that will help you a long way. Obviously, do your own due diligence, not financial advice, all the good stuff. And I'll catch you again tomorrow. Onwards and upwards, eh? And big shout out to SwitchX and a super big shout out to LibertySwap. What a roadmap they are rolling out. Pulse Chain, the glory is coming, and it is exciting times. All right, take care, everybody, and bye for now.